Good evening and welcome back to the CodeRed channel. We do have a very exciting today. It's the first day of the grand finals of the CoR European Showdown, and what a lineup we have in terms of players and in terms of casters. I'm joined by S1lencrr, of course. How are you?
I'm very, very good, thank you. As you said, exciting day ahead of us, and exciting panel as well. I mean, I think this is the first time we've ever done a three-person panel, so that's quite exciting.
Yeah, joined by Mr. CC as well. Good to have you back. How are you doing?
Doing fantastic, man. Happy to be here with the core boys today. A little bit of a different switch up, but I'm happy to be back, man. Thanks for the invite.
Anytime. You know we love to cast with you. We've had, of course, Zabu in as well, but yeah, we've really trying to ramp it up for these finals. So, yeah, we've got 4 days left of CES. And, Harry, I'm going to come to you first. Who are you looking forward to seeing tonight? Who's really taken your eye so far?
I mean, from their dominant performance in the upper bracket, I mean, TSS really came out strong. I think they'll be really interesting to see, especially coming through the open qualifiers and yet doing better than, 7 of our invited teams. Well, they did better than 8 of them, but 7 qualifying alongside TSS. TSS, the only non-invited team to qualify in the upper bracket. And they came through winning it. So I think, really good chance of them doing well in this one. A couple of other teams as well that have really been playing well from the lower bracket when they came through to the qualifiers as well. Aguita being another one. I think they did very well too. So, yeah, those 2 teams, I think I'm really looking forward to seeing play out today.
Yeah, absolutely. The talent is brilliant. And CC, who's really caught your eye? Who are you really looking to make a stand on this lobby going into game number 1?
If I had to call out anybody, it's K7 sitting at the top of the list here. K7 has just been catching my eye. Every glance that I take seems to be focused on K7. K7 seems to be in the top 5. Their circle knowledge lately has just been really impressing me. RMV, some of their chances to put themselves in good positions have been fantastic as well. Of course, I got to give a shout out to the CodeRed gaming squad. These guys have been playing their hearts out as well, time and time again. We've seen them in the top 3. We've seen them take home some very difficult chicken dinners here and, just play the circle at the end of the time, I think, accordingly. That's something that CoR, and not only CoR, but a couple other teams struggle to do, is close out that end game, have a fantastic mid game, and do great throughout the entirety of the competition. But when it comes down to that end game, that last fight is the most important.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Very, very well said there. A lot of these teams, of course, are coming in very warm after a lot of action in the weekend at the PCL. But for now, I'll leave you in the cool embrace of S1lencrr and CC as we make our way into game number 1.
Yeah, thank you very much. And this is going to be an exciting game, isn't it, CC? Straight in on Erangel. Really nice plane as well, going across the center of the map. So it's going to be a nice start for some of these teams being able to get to the locations they want to get to.
Hands down, I'll say this is one of the favorite playing paths of mine, just because you get that opportunity. You don't get anybody shortchanged. You get to see everybody on a prime drop spot. You're not going to be able to feel too uncomfortable. So when you get the end game circles, right, you get to see all the teams here at full force, 4 squads, just battling it out tooth and nail here. And that's just some of the most fantastic action we can ask for here in these competitions. So happy to see where it's going to be. We potentially will have that one solo team down in a military base, if I'm talking K7, but everybody else should be up towards the top there. So, that military base circle always ever so spicy here on the console side of things.
Yeah, it really is. You get quite a few bridge camps coming through occasionally, especially with so many teams around the Milta area as well. Can be a very tricky bridge to get across on that eastern side. The western side can be a little bit better, but with Aguita in the lobby, they do like to loot around the bridge area. So it looks like they're opting to go towards Yasnaya and kind of go around a little bit more. Looks like Townie, I'm assuming, has lagged out because he's very disconnected from the rest of his team, unless it's a new strategy that they're trying out. But yeah, hopefully he does manage to get back into the game and it doesn't cause them too many problems.
Have that poor console, I love the fact we've came miles, but I hate to see in the competitions like this that unfortunate lag out, putting yourself down a player. We were just talking the importance of being 4 strong, and when you have no control over that, PUBG just says, hey, good luck getting back in. We'll see if we see you. That right there just feels bad, man. So, that is unfortunate for GT, down to 1 member here early on. We'll look to see how that does play out. But after that circle pop, we've got a nice northern circle here with F2S CoR set it up beautifully on that Severny side of things here. as well as RMV and SKE with some nice, easy early rotations to take here. So love to see these teams. Again, we had talked about RMV at the beginning, CoR as well. Two teams here were expected to do well, have the opportunity to then do so here at the start of this day. So we'll see what they can make up off the position here. Again, position and circle off the first pop is only going to be so much for us.
Yeah, exactly. It's really nice circle here for CoR. And yeah, hopefully they can get themselves into a nice position here. QP as well should have a nice rotate in here. Same with F2S as well. But F2S not normally one of these teams that get off the ground nice and early. They do tend to take a little bit longer to get that loot, which isn't a bad thing. They're perfectly happy coming in as one of the later teams into the lobby and fighting their way through across the edge. But when they get the zone, I feel like maybe they need to be a little bit more proactive. So hopefully we'll see that from them, because obviously they don't get the opportunity to get many zones, or whether in them when they do land in North George. Because how many times do we ever get to see it go over towards Zarky?
Zarky would be just a clown circle to say the least, but to be entertaining on our part, man, I would love to see a Zarky finish. I would love to see even a Star or Kameshki finish. I love these northern circles, right? They offer, it's the rotation that comes with it, right? I mean, you got to play from that middle zone. Any place on the northern side of things here, every team has to pretty much come out the comfort zone right there. So anything over here on this top side, aside from that shooting range, which is the more common finish, I think, for the northern side of things here, but there's opportunity amongst this entire circle here. And if you're talking about challenging some players here, it's those Stalber, Kameshki, it's those Zarky, North George circles that really just put teams, out of that comfort zone.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. There can be a lot of problems when it comes to rotating in these sort of zones. So it does really throw up some different, different sort of play styles coming from some of these teams, and different plays that we get to see that we don't normally get to see when it's kind of one of these, central zones that everyone's used to playing. One, very good thing for these teams is the fact that the lake running through the middle of the map is towards the south side of the zone. So I don't think we'll see too many sort of will it, won't it kind of situations. But of course, it's PUBG. The circles, they can do crazy things. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we do suddenly get a random hard shift and this does end up in the south. I think, that won't be great for the players, but it's just going to cause some carnage.
I would love to see a little bit of that there. Everybody should be premonition to kind of go to that north side zone here, expecting that it should pull there. So we'll have to see how that does play. PUBG guys always have their own plans in motion. I do like to see, though, that K7 is already inside vehicles, making the rotation there from the south, not wasting any time. If you also look down towards the south, GT Townie has made its way back to the lobby. So GT back with 4 strong members here. Is Townie going to be able to re-link with the group is the question, but it looks possible because AG is already in vehicles rotating their way up towards the north side as well. So as long as he can find himself some sort of transportation, should manage to regroup with the rest of GT, and then we should see them getting to move forward here. All 16 teams haven't lost a single player here within the first 5 minutes, which is, a miracle in itself here. So everybody getting a nice, easy rotation here, to say the least here. We'll have to see how these next few phases play off, because circles like this spell for disaster when we're talking about that phase 4, phase 5 shift.
Yeah, exactly. That's the kind of the shift that all these players are kind of waiting for. The first zone, people can get quite settled. Second, third zone can throw a few things, but as soon as it gets towards that later stages, that's when it can really change things, when all these teams get grouped together and then they have to try and adapt based on those zones. So yeah, definitely something that these teams need to be thinking about going forwards. But for now, most teams sort of starting to get a little bit settled in the zone. RMV a little bit split on this rotate, but I don't think they'll have too many problems. Quite an easy move in unless TSS decide to get into a location to kind of unsettle them a little bit on this Rozhok bridge. But it looks like, kind of the info's come through from the other 2 members, and Takashi and Kadok's just going to go across the bridge above Rozhok, and they should have quite a nice easy rotation in towards the rest of their teammates.
Yeah, we're going to see this become the Pokeball right towards the center, right? I mean, we're going to see everybody grouped up right in that center position. The outer edge of this zone definitely does not present too much opportunity. More teams would rather have the full send, after the phase does close, than have to get into this zone afterwards. So I like to see the mentality here from these players playing it out right. We occasionally see, that 1 or 2 teams sitting on that southern side, just kind of expecting that south push to happen from this first phase. But I think, that's a very 99-1 type zone right there. So, if you might get it every now and again, but I'd take my chances being on the top side of things here with a nice hardcover compound, not having to cross that river time and time again here, rather than have to find yourself in a southern position, because you already know, Ruins, Watertown, Rozak, there's quite a few entry points into these locations, so you have a better relocation coming from that top side rather than coming from the south side, where you'll then be fighting for retail and fighting pretty much just for position at that case.
Yeah, 100%. It's you don't want to be stuck on the south side and have to try and rotate across those bridges when already all of the locations in the north are taken, because you're going to really struggle to do that, especially as they're complete choke points coming through for some of these teams. Dub Hub, kind of hoping they're looking to get across, but actually where they are, that they can sort of settle for a little while. Of course, we've got more information than they do. They don't know that there's no one over the other side of the water, but from the information that we can see, quite a decent amount of space there, just by the Yaz Bridge, so they should be okay there. Of course, Torch and Dig still left to settle up, so maybe if they get into a position that could upset them, then it will be a different story as they try to cross.
Definitely all about this early rotation. WC taking the high road here, right through Severny here. The remaining 2 members still leaving Lipovka. So we've got a wide 2-2 split here. Everybody just kind of playing the slow zone here. Again, haven't seen a single shot, I think, fired. I mean, there's been a few glances at each other, a few, okay, there's a team there, but I have not really seen anybody getting aggressive or starting to take those shots. So this is kind of that pressure building up here on day number 1. You can tell everybody's feeling it. Nobody wants to be the first squad eliminated today. A lot of these teams, again, they have got that chance to play in other comps throughout the weekend, so they're feeling warmed up. The TDMs, we're in the making this morning. This is that lobby. You're feeling good. You want to be able to take those fights, and that first fight you enter, you definitely want to be able to come out on top.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, we're 9 minutes in and still 64 players up. How many times do you get to see that in console? I always compare console to APAC kind of region when it comes to PC. Very, very chaotic. Early fights, lose about 10 players before the first zone's even closed. It can be absolute carnage, but this does seem to be holding up quite well. And as you said, no team wanted to lose players early. We expected we might have lost one in the fact that Towney had lagged out at the beginning, but seems to have regrouped with the rest of this team. And they're going for a late rotation into this one, so it could unsettle them slightly, but the fact that they're still 4 strong, I think they're pretty happy with that, because if I'm GT, I'm taking 4 strong over 3, losing a player, unfortunately, and getting in early any day of the week.
It's weird, though, with GT, right, though? I mean, that's a team that I feel like, even if they come in late, somehow still ends up seeing the late game. I don't know what they do, or, their scale of luck here, but GT's understanding of when to leave, and even if they come in late, how to approach that situation definitely tends to surprise me. So, I was kind of worried about GT as that circle, shifts again. It does kind of pull them still back out of the zone. But there's a very central position here. Shooting range seems to be the case. Again, we know time and time again how this one's going to end, and the best part about that, chat, is it is going to be just that, a shooting range. There's going to be shots all over the side of this mountain here. Rotations will be chaotic. There's going to be plenty of action to come here for these next few phases, and even though it's a very vanilla circle, as we know it's going to pop, it's still super entertaining as far as the action that comes out of it.
Yeah, 100%. It really does bring some carnage with these sort of zones. And I think we'll still keep quite a few players up, to be honest, in this shift. Most of the water being taken out. Almost all the teams were already in the zone. Got a couple of late stragglers. Aguita coming across the bridge by Georgia Pole. K7 just settling themselves in on the edge of zone as well on the western side. Dub Hub, GT starting to make their move in. WC as well. But most teams are in. They've got themselves a position. And I think, once again, we're going to see quite a few players still up. I cast a curse once again. Jake Ben's going to be able to find Baltic there. Unfortunately, just catching, I think that maybe the tires or hit a rock or something, and Baltic just, getting caught out a little bit. So we have lost our first player of the championship grand finals, and that's not the start Dig would want. But I mean, only losing one, still 3 up, and they've got themselves a decent compound as well for it. So I don't think they're going to be too upset, and still plenty more chances of them picking up some points in this game.
Hands down, Bussy. There is plenty of opportunity. First player down and out there. Finally, everybody can kind of get that breathing, back to normal here, as they are not going to be the first player eliminated. There is still, again, so much to come. I'm looking at BHE. I was just watching Larry here, and it would have been nice to catch it on stream. This man's dancing inside the house over here for BHE. He's got the turntable open, and you can tell just the casualness. He's trying to loosen up the group. We all know Larry to be that guy to, come in the chat and lighten up the mood here. So, here he is keeping BHE, on their toes. He's doing his thing, scouting the bridge. We went back to doing business here. So whoever the IGLs must have told him, get back at it here. But good to see these guys, doing their thing out here having fun. BHE is one of those teams that I always comment on because they're always out in the chat. I always see these guys, spreading out love just as much as the rest of this community here. So good to see. Again, I love a good opportunity to have a fun time in comp.
Yeah, exactly. It's always good, and sometimes you need that person, just to kind of settle the mood. And people go into these events quite tense. They they're worried about how they're going to perform. You got someone like Larry on your team. You're going in, you're having fun, and sometimes when you're having fun, that's when you get your best results. So, yeah, I think BHE hopefully going to be able to perform well in this one. EXH though, once again getting another knock on Diggs. That's the second knock already. EXH been playing very well recently as well. Just picking up huge high kill games. We kind of commented on when we saw them in the upper bracket, but they're a bit of an all or nothing team. They're either massive kill games or they're crashing out in 16th. There's no real sort of balance to their game. So I'm hoping that they can kind of pick up that consistency, because as soon as they get that consistency coming through, they're definitely a team that could be contesting for the top, and they're actually going to go straight in for the crash here on towards Dig. Seeing the other knock coming through from QP, they're thinking, we can maybe clean up that kill as well. Wash going to be bleeding out there, going to be taken away by Tweak, so that's going to be 2 kills on the board for EXH here. And 2 members up now for Dig. Wizzy has managed to get res, so he's still there, but Velton, I'm seeing an M16 in his hand. I'm hoping he's got another AR to go with it. He hasn't. 16 rounds and an M16 and a dream. Wizzy going down as well, and this is going to be a real difficult hold now for Dig, as Velton holding the stairs, tries to get the stun out, does try and hit it, but does just about manage to do it. But no, unfortunately, does go down. And that's going to be EXH. Nice clean wipe there on towards Dig.
Nice timing from EXH. I like to see this team not waste the aggression. They've got not only the kill that was knocked, coming out from QP of the side there. They stole that one. Were able to pick up an extra kill there that didn't even belong to them. Crashed that house perfectly. And a nice entry nade from Marco right there, Bussy. Had that, been any different, sure you would have given the comms away. But when you get that first knock, and there's just 2 players up there, that's a nice confident full send there. EXH fueling themselves, looking like they've got their form all together. And what a way to start the day for EXH.
Yeah, I mean, they were so good there at working out, pretty much 3 points from them. They saw 2 knocks on the team, and they thought, what, we've already got a confirm earlier on. We've seen 2 knocks come through on that team. Well, let's push, let's try and get the points and clean up. And as a 4, they did just that. They played that perfectly, in my opinion, and come away with 4 points. And unfortunately, Dig going to be the first team out on the lobby here. WC taking casualties as well. I've got a knock on their side. I think they've managed to get the res, or they should be able to get the res up on towards Bonkai there. A little bit of a tap there from K7, but not really in a position to be able to capitalize on that one. And so, yeah, K7 just going to back off a little bit, hold down on this hillside, and just wait for the right moment to actually strike on towards that team. But, yeah, now is when the carnage starts coming through. 60 players up. It's great that they've survived for so long, but there's only so much space in these sort of zones. And Dubhub now going to have to try and push in on towards Torch as well, as we see them lingering around. And in fact, we've actually got some player comms once again in this lobby. So I think we're going to head on over towards Dubhub, and let's have a little listen to them trying to rotate into this zone.
I can't wait this side here. And your back
not.
that you don't get.
One is not.
Welcome.
Yeah. Start moving now.
Oh yeah, you're already in blue.
I can put this UAS on your left side for cover.
Yeah, here on these rocks.
On this rock?
Yeah, here. Somewhere here. That we can play a little bit more open. That we have ground here. Make sure that no one is coming on these sides. And try to walk on us.
Someone's at the garage building.
Oh, that's shit. I think we need to crash down here.
And there you go. Some nice, very calm comms coming out. Here's Skokic giving those IGL calls, trying to work out what they need to do. Unfortunately, couldn't quite get some kills up on towards the XH. They were fighting MW, and yeah, we have lost MW as well during that fight. And yeah, you heard it there. Not the best zone that Dubhub would have wanted in this one, and they're going to have to try and find their way into this one, as they've already identified that Torch are holding them out. And yeah, this is going to be a challenging rotate, but actually, I really like the rotate they're about to take right now.
Lost Dub C in the transition there as well, so we're going to lose 2 more teams here. K7 getting destroyed right now. Aguita pretty much punishing this team here after coming up to finish WC. Aguita gives them no chance to reset. Looks like this team's about to take out one of our top competitors here who's on my eye list here. But Aguita, I could never talk bad about this team. When these guys do well, this is just a team that I love to see and, you know, has been so supportive of me personally here. So when Aguita does their thing here, it's just one of those teams where you just have to put respect on their name. But they get the knock. Surprisingly enough, they pull off of the fight here. So they leave Aimbot and QDex still survive inside the smoke as K7 left with just 2 players left alive. QP makes the entrance, tries to get involved in the fight as well, but it's pretty much over at that point as EXH will fall. That's going to be Benz, both down, taken out as a double comes out from Fizz.
Yeah, it certainly does, and GT using that as the perfect opportunity to try and rotate now as Torch were occupied with EXH. So yeah, great start for EXH, but unfortunately they're down and out already, not even making placement points here. They did get a few kills on the board, so they've got themselves some points nice and early on in this one, and RMV, they're going to start punishing GT for that crash up on towards shooting range there. As JB just peppering the shots down. Solis gets confirmed. Walshy going to be found as well. Shots continuing to go into the smoke, and they can just about spot the players there crawling around. Walshy should be confirmed as well, I think. I don't see him being able to get res. And there we go. Kadosh getting the bleed out on towards GT. And, you know, it's a smart play to try and rotate when they did. But unfortunately, Kaneki going to be the last remaining member left up for GT. And no kills on the board for them so far.
Tough rotation. I like the attempt for the full send, trying to just crash shooting range. But again, there being so many different teams on that hillside, you can't avoid every angle. So GT will go down. BAG, though, getting into it on the back end of the circle here. SKU in the watch there is going to steal a kill away on the Cliff there. Just some big things from Cliff over the weekend here. Can BAG decide to clutch up here with F2S right in the face? He's inside the smoke. He's going to walk so close to Larry. Larry just does not get the comms in. Comes, I believe, Nada from the back. Zen King as well. They're just circling around F2S. Finally, Zen King's going to spot him out, takes him down. Now the focus can shift over to SKEU as Aguita sneaks in from the back. It looks like they're going to be able to take up what they can from the fight here, but it's Pepe Uji who's my eyes on. Attention, good shots coming out, but SKEU better, just better. He's going to win that fight there against Pepe Uji over the top. And now leaving Aguita just 2 members left alive. 3 for SKU, but Skyline a little bit too far away from the squad, potentially to do anything as far as some help goes. So it's going to take either a deep line of sight there from Skylinks, or he's going to have to get in that vehicle full send to support the rest of the squad here.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, really, really smart play there from Aguita to try and push it in on towards Skyline, but they held that so well. Holding that valley, you know, it can be really difficult when you've got a few teams, but when a team pushes down in that valley, they're so concentrated. And yeah, Aguita unfortunately feeling the wrath there of Skyline and getting on the back foot. It looks like Luca is going to be able to get rezzed here. So, you know, Aguita managed to hold 3 up. But Skyline and they're going to finish off BHE, who also kind of got a little bit caught out on that sideline. F2S causing them so many problems here. Beta trying to rain the shots down towards Aguita. Quite making the connections there. Hatabuka feels the wrath of that Orm from Shane.
Oh yeah, you heard that shot, yeah? That was disgusting. I love that A-dub when it comes through of the mic. That thing just sounds disgusting. That's Aguita. And my question for Aguita here, you know, I was just talking good on them. They've got 2 aggressive knocks on the teams here, just not have been able to follow up either of the knocks. You know, with that aggression here, it's like they're finding the pressure, but they're scared to then aggress after the knock. And I feel like BHE could have definitely valued. They could have used that help from BHE in the back if they would have done that right. Timing it right there. But again, the timing just seems a little off here for Aguita. Now slowly but surely working themselves towards this zone. Looking like it's pretty much the end of the days here for Aguita. SKE was on the ropes there, knocked, you know, and feeling the pressure. But again, with the lack of pressure from Aguita, SKEU now back up to 4 kills and pressuring their way in. But it's RMB lying in wait there as SKEU will finish up the final member of Aguita. Back over to RMV SKEU.
Yeah, exactly. You know, really, really well played there. Unfortunately, Aguita are going to fall, not quite making the placement points, but now we're in our top 8. Now we're in the business end of this event. for this game. And RMV, they're going to have to try and now hold out Skyline EU as they are pushing aggressively. And JB, great shots coming out from him to be able to get the knock on towards Skyline. Skylinks really struggling now as he's taking shots from TSS as well, it looks like. And now Skyline EU looking like they're in such a bad position. Dill actually going to steal good dodge from across the other side of the zone. Ollie being able to get involved as well. That does go down to the solo of GT. Unfortunate there. Howard just trying to do what he possibly can to hold off from that advance, but it's all going on the top of that hill there. And so many casualties coming through.
Chaotic zone phase 6 here. 7 teams remain, 24 players trying to make their way into that next phase 7. Not a single bit of hard cover, but the range and the opportunity of Ridge is there. So these teams definitely going to come down to circle knowledge to get themselves into this next phase comfortably and still have to try to find these next knocks. So we're looking at SKEU really trying to make the attempt in. They're having a very difficult time with RMV lined up, waiting to take these shots here. Somehow still 4 strong, and TSS being held at bay as well as Link keeps trying to get involved in the fight here with good shots from SKEU. Give him no opportunity, but they do open the door. There is JB finding the first knock onto Shane. That should be a re-knock, second time down for Shane. This hacker will fall. Link finally gets the opportunity to take those shots. That's 2 players now down for SKEU. RMV still lying in wait here, but it's the pressure from TSS up at the top that's opening this door here for RMV, able to find these knocks. And now the push onto SKEU denied by Beater. Better again in that situation, but knocked from the third party. Kakashi will step in, only to be traded out by Skylands as he's going to come off the res there. Flushes out the kill, back for the res. PSS still looking in top, but they have not decided to get over aggressive on it. So it's 2 up for SKEU with 1 solo RMV as TSS lies in wait, and the rest of our teams here to the north side now starting to get engaged.
Yeah, exactly. It certainly are. And can we just comment on QP there for stealing away pretty much every kill in that engagement? So many kills going their way. As you see, really nice shots coming out from Howard there on towards one of Dubhub. But yeah, this fight, it was always inevitable. It was going to break out. And now Dubhub and CoR both got members knocked for it. Mingo is going to get stolen away, though, from TSS. So they're also getting involved up on the top here. Sutty going to try and get revived here by Howard as Gav's holding the line, trying to see if he can catch some of these members of Dubhub out. SkoKick looks like he wants to try and push up. Does take a bit of damage on towards Gav and gets the knock as well. Going to get the flush too. Very low, though, as Dubhub needs to try and push in here. Sutty has been res, gets back up, but Ollie was knocked in the process, and now Howard back on medic duty is going to have to try and sort out him as well. But there we go. Entel's pushed over, catches Sutty, but doesn't see Howard in the smoke. Howard's going to have to get the confirm back on towards him, and now SkoKick trying to see what he can possibly do. Howard taking out his own teammate there. He now turns back on towards SkoKick. 1 HP left on him. SkoKick not looking the best either, and he pops around and he manages to take Howard out, and unfortunately that's going to be CoR going down in 7th place. And yeah, that was a bit of a scrappy fight on both sides, really. Neither team coming out very strong there.
Good intel from SkoKick there. I mean, Entel does fall, but good intel from SkoKick there. That was absolutely great to just blind fire through that smoke. Didn't give that chance for Howard to get that heal off. Could have potentially went the other direction had he got that heal off and had the 70-50 life advantage right there. But SkoKick give him no opportunity right there. Good comms, good shots, good push there from the Dubhub. Dubhub in. Now the 6 teams remaining. K7 the solo for his squad, and it looks like we've got JB, 3 solo players here for the top 6, and then we have a QP full squad. 4 solo players. I didn't even see Skyline. Skyline, SKEU as well, just lying in wait over there. So 4 solo players, TSS to the north, and then we've got QP to the south here. This is one spicy circle, and these individual solo teams could play the biggest roles in each of QP's or TSS's success, the failure. And this is when PUBG, I think, is at its most excitement here, for these random few solo bodies.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they can do so much damage, can't they, to a team? QP could look great. And I don't know if anyone caught any of the Asia PCS 7 over the weekend, but a huge nade coming out from Petrichor Road on towards 17 Gaming. And just completely annihilated them in one go from the solo. So it can happen. It can definitely happen. And, K7, if they've got a player they want to still have up, it is going to be QDex, right? I mean, this guy is just a machine. He can do so much damage. And, yeah, there we go. There goes one of our solos. SkoKick can go down to the zone, but QDex just lying, waiting for his opportune moment to pipe up and take out some of QP here. yet, and he's waiting until the last moment before he's going to start showing his hand. And see if he can maybe catch a couple of members of QP as they push in.
There it is. That's a knock from Lynx right there. Lynx and QDex could easily rip apart QP here. As again, TSS doesn't seem too involved. They are coming up over the top of Sky, so that could be his demise. JB just lying in wait. Yeah, there's QRXZ. Does find the shot. JB will step out from the back, only to find Linkadox inside the vehicle. Maybe I thought he was going to full send after getting that knock, but I think the Vic is stuck. Tires are popped. So nice knock and confirm there from JB, helping out Sky right there. QP will lose a member as QDex still lying in wait towards the bottom. He's finally eventually going to come through, but TSS does have his numbers, so they know he's down there. So not going to be the easiest move for him to make. So QP, 3 players up. TSS with the 2. You got a split from Jimbo and QRXZ here, just trying to buy some time. And in the middle of both QP and TSS, RMV JB will fall. That's going to be Specky picking up that kill as QDex gets another solo player out. That's going to be 1 loss for TSS. QRXZ probably too far from Jimbo in order to get that res here. So we step back to now QP, K7, QDex, and then Jimbo here in a fight. Can QP reset, get the res here, and then take this 3v1-1 to come out on top?
Yeah, I mean, QDex is getting so aggressive unless he gets the knock. He's going to get another one as well. Specky going to go down, and QP almost forgot that QDex had knocked one of the players here, and I think he might even be able to find another one. He's going to try and get Zen Grip. Gets him so low, he's 1 HP. QDex having to go to the revive.
Close.
Stun coming through, trying to just completely blind him, and I think that's going down, and QDex just absolutely dominating. Got himself at least a second, and that's a 1v1. Jimbo could open the shots, though. TSS trying to do what they can as a solo to try and see if they can get the shots. QDex having to get back up again, taking solo, tries to reposition, tries to get himself into a better location here. Does manage to spot Jimbo just at the last moment, but Jimbo's got the nade in hand. Could this be a fatal nade? No, I don't think he spotted QDex moving around.
He's got the wrong information. Yeah, he was looking at the wrong direction. That was a good shot because QDex had hit that shot from the bottom before moving location. So I think that's what really scattered Jimbo's brain right there. Had QDex not hit that shot, that could have been completely different. But good moves here from Q, and now in the 1v1 situation. This right here is PUBG at its best.
It certainly is. You know, those 1v1, those tense moments right at the very end as you're trying to get that win. I mean, this is a 5-point kill, essentially, because you get the 4 extra points for the placement and you get the extra kill point as well. Jimbo, he's going for such a wide rotate. I think this might be potentially the wrong move because he's now put himself on the smallest tree. He's not in the zone either. QDex is just in a position to now wait him out if he wants to. Does spot him moving away from that tree, though. Jimbo just trying to line up the shots. Tags coming through with that SLR. Has to hit the reload, though, and that's allowed Jimbo to get to this tree. He's going to be safe for the moment. Thing is,
barely inside the zone here too, and that's he put himself in a very dangerous position. But he does have smokes to buy out. His vest is cracked, and that's the scariest part about it. 2 shots could easily put Jimbo down here, whether it be in the body, the head. It's just going to take 2 easy shots. QDex feeling the same pain. Both of them have a full helmet, but the body, the vest, is just beaten. Jimbo taking the opportunity to rotate out here before the circle starts to close in. Phase 9 in full effect here. 2 minutes, 30 seconds, and we won't even need it. Because Q is going to step, tries to fire through the left-hand side of the smoke, just still nothing to connect. He's going to buy himself a little more time, drops the smoke on the left-hand side of the rock, looking, and just lying, waiting, blind fires through the smoke. But the stun is perfect from Jimbo. Q going to have essentially took them out of play right there. Once that came through, stepping from the back, RMV, JB was looking on that fight too. He did manage to take down one of the TSS members, a little bit help for there. But again, I think that ultimately those 4 snakes in the grass, you're thinking it's part of the team and it just doesn't happen. You get the knock and it's confirmed. You're like, wait, what? There's still 4 more players potentially that we have to deal with. So, you get that, you like to get that confirmation, or you like to get that first knock and then you're against that team. But when I think that first initial knock put them really in a position to kind of question how many teams are still left. Like I didn't even imagine there could be a solo left, but there's 4 solos left in less than 10 players. So that I think starts to play with some of the mentality of these players here.
Absolutely. Well, we'll take a very short break and be back with game number 2 in just a couple of seconds.
And welcome back for game number 2 of the CoR European Showdown Series Grand Finals, week number 1. You know, it's a nice start we had there. K7, I say K7, QDex having a massive game there, coming away with the win and really clutching up for his team there, because it did look like K7 was struggling a little bit at the start of that game.
You know, that was a rough one. It looked scary, you know, and like I said, I shouted them out, told them their circle knowledge, and that's what it comes down to. I mean, K7 played that little bowl, hit in the bush, you know, for a good 2-3 minutes, rotated at the right time, and again, that's just the information. This team, like the way that they understand PUBG is absolutely fantastic. I've watched this team, you know, in comp. I've never actually been in stream, and I'll tell you, if I was in stream, like I just feel like I'm watching a PUBG developer like put together this game. Not only like a dev, but somebody who can shoot behind that. And like, it's absolutely crazy to see that happen here on console.
Yeah, 100%, you know, just absolutely incredible ability coming out from him. But yeah, obviously that was last game. We're going into game number 2 now. And as you can see, you know, plenty of players scattered about over the map as everyone gets ready to get into their loot spots and starts picking up some loot ready for the game. You know, not too many people intertwining with each other. Guita and Skyline EU a little bit close to each other, but I mean, it is interesting to see that Dub Hub have actually decided to leave the school apartments area. I think they were actually the team that was more up for a fight with Skyline EU. Both players wanting to take that location, but after not really getting the fight, they realised, you know what, we're being confined to either school or apartments. We're not getting any extra kill points through it. We're not getting the loot. We might as well just leave. So they've gone towards farm. They've adapted their drop and, you know, didn't have the game they probably would have wanted in the last one, but they did get a few points. And I mean, we didn't really touch on it too much, but that rotation they did just after we finished listening to their comms was so good to be able to get towards the center and bypass about 5 teams. They looked like they were really struggling in that position. Said that the zone shift was terrible, but they really played that well.
You got to respect a good rotation, a good early rotation, you know, to get yourselves in position. And then, you know, again, it's rotation. It's after the rotation is put in place, you know, essentially making moves from there, gathering information. I don't think there was enough information gathered as, again, you know, there's just only so much you can do in a shooting range zone. So, you know, you can only get so much information, right? But, you know, they could have potentially slowed the fights down there a little bit. They did take a nice little fight with CoR in order to come out on top. There was I think 3 or 4 additional teams already waiting outside of shooting range. So had it pulled in towards shooting range, could have definitely affected Dub Hub's rotation on that one. A little bit better, more in their favor. But,
yeah,
you know, it's just, again, luck of the circle, luck of the draw. They do the best they can. It was a fantastic rotation, though, like you said. And now we have another similar circle with shooting range still in play here. Again, not that top side water really shot out, but still a very scary zone as far as the north and south part of Erangel go. Because then you get stuck having to think, do I play the south? Do I play the north? This is the one that is a little more questionable than the past circle, because that one was, you know, a little bit higher. You had so much of that northern part of Erangel, and now it's a, you know, a 40-60 type deal here with some water in play and a little bit of Everest, which is super unplayable. So there's some questions to be asked, and there's some rotations to be made. And definitely this is the time, this early on in day number 1 here, to then distance yourself with a nice 20-30 point game. You know, if you can get that 25 point game, 15 kills and the chicken dinner, you know, you start to get that feeling like, all right, we got this. We're capable of doing this in the CES event. And you know, I'm just looking to see that first big game tonight from one of these teams, because we have a lot of heavy hitters in this lobby.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's definitely one of those situations where you kind of, you want to be getting off to a good start, especially with the way the format works. So, if you guys are not familiar with the way the prizing is working, we have got 2 weeks of the grand finals, and each week is independent to the other. So you've got a smaller prize pool for week 1, and then week 2 is when the big money comes. That's when these teams are really going to be going for it. We've got an overall prize as well for first place, whoever gets the most points over both weekends. But if you're singling it down to a weekend at a time, you've got 8 games to make an impact and try and get to the top of that leaderboard. That's not very many. Only half of these teams have even got a chance of getting a win. So if you're able to get a win with a high amount of kill games, that's going to put you in a really good position. Of course, you can't just rest on that. You've got to be consistent in the other games. But, the way the points generally work is it's so top heavy. As long as you can make sure you get at least 1 big win, at some point, you've got a really good chance of picking up some money.
Hands down, I love the format of this competition. It pays, to the teams that, again, like you said, don't have the best consistency, but still show up and have that absolutely cracked game, that find the rhythm, that find the momentum, and they're able to pick those, points up and get rewarded for it. Because, time and time again, these teams come into these big end competitions, they put up a lot of numbers, and they, don't necessarily match up with some of these higher volume teams, but still, not to say that to take anything away from them, you still want to be able to reward them. You still want to see these guys showing up for the next event. You still want to be able to see these guys, showing up as a squad, turning on the stream and putting up the next event. So, hands out to you guys, for putting out together an event that not only showcases some of the best teams, but gives everybody, that chance to make something and feel appreciated.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice format. I think it's pretty balanced. You've got obviously the prize for the most consistent over 4 days. You've also got the prize for each week. If someone runs away with it in week 1, there's still a lot of money up for grabs in week 2. So there's no team that's going to kind of go, oh, you know what, we've lost this already. Reset the leaderboard resets. You come back for week 2 and you try and dominate then. So yeah, it's got the best of everything for all styles of teams, and hopefully we get to see a lot of action to go alongside that as well, because yeah, there is really a good chance for some of these teams to, put their foot on the gas and just go in hard. So, only game number 2 though, so still quite a way to go, especially even just this week for these teams. So if you didn't have a good start to the games, doesn't matter too much. And actually, with not being, no team had a really high kill game there. Yeah, okay, obviously K7 come away with the win, 7 kills to go alongside it, but it's not like they've suddenly put themselves miles ahead of the competition. And I think that's probably one of the closest games in terms of points that I've seen for a while, especially a game 1 of a tournament.
Especially for a starter. I was thinking just that. Like, it's really, really low to see something with, 10, 15, 17 points. 17 points being the max of match number 1. We're seeing 25-point games sometimes, with just teams going off on kills. You see some teams come out, they get second place, and they still end up with 18 kills. 18 points, excuse me. It's crazy. So this is definitely a different tournament, which gives me hope that this is going to be a pretty evenly placed tournament here. If teams can find that rhythm, sometimes, you're going to see SKEU shine. Sometimes you're going to see, teams like we got to see K7, the solo shine. We got to see good rotations coming out from Dubhub, TSS in the top there. There's just a lot of, individual talent, big teams. There's also teams that are still making the name and just, putting up great fights, inside today's match. We've got 1 match still to come. And now hope we've got GT though, opening the door, trying to find the first fight with WC, and WC can't lose another fight so early on. They were a team that needs a better chance the second time around. And Walshy just pressuring, has already launched several grenades after finding the knock here on the Makaz, and EXH smells the blood in the water. They want to get involved as well. So you've got GT, WC going to close up, and then EXH will come through, only to find Kaneki taking down 1 from the back there. So WC buying themselves some time with a little bit of third-party help from EXH. Not looking good for either of the teams here at the top side of the hill, as EXH is just in the perfect position. The third party, everything going on in this fight.
Yeah, exactly. Not the start that either of these teams wanted, not having the best first game, and now all of a sudden they're having a fight and they're getting third party as well. As you said, EXH pushing in the back lines. Well, she's going to confirm dynamics. That is at least 1 point that they're going to be able to pick up. Spencer gets taken down so low. Towney pops in, does manage to catch one. Marco finding Bonkai at almost exactly the same moment, and that's going to be WC once again crashing out early. I don't think they got a single kill in that engagement either. Actually, they might have got one because GT did lose 2, so I think they picked up 1 point. But EXH really coming away the better of that fight because they've picked up 2 kills. They've still got everyone up, and they're now in a position to try and push in towards the 2-man of GT. The problem is Dubhub also wanted to get involved. This is what we are talking about. This is your typical console games. As you're seeing Dubhub, even Milky Way getting involved as well. We're only 9 minutes in already. We've lost a team. We're losing players left, right, and center, and it's just absolute carnage.
Aggression, and here it comes. GT now in the fight with the EXH boys here. Dubbo will wait for the fight to start to conclude, and will probably collapse on this fight to then pick up whatever kills they can. Let's see who's close enough that they can come in. Yeah, Milky Way too, you were saying? Yeah, they can come in and join the fight too. You know, it's close enough. SKEU, why not come out of the school? I know you guys are looking good in the zone. Come on over. There's some action. There's some chaos here, but we're watching the push come in. EXH tweak. We'll find a nice little toss on the wall sheet, opening the door there, then starting to push in. Townie just trying to hold left what he can. 4 members of EXH setting it in. Walshy, I think, just trying to give comms, but there's not much he's going to be able to do. Townie will hold the line. Finds the first knock. Bench trying to find a nice little cheeky angle past the doorway there. Isn't going to happen, though. This does buy Townie some time to stick this res here on to Walshy. Ben's a little bit too scared to make that push around the corner. Does toss a nade trying to buy some time, but it's just a smoke. So not going to do any lethal damage, no fire either as well. But now Ben does have the grenade in hand, steps out, drops a nade right onto Townie with a few shots to be traded, but still not able to find the knock in return. Now Walshy on the pressure forward, steps forward to try to find them, going for the res. But 2 members of EXH ready and wait. Shots come through, Walshy to fall. GT falls right after WC, so they do end up picking up some early kills. But unfortunately, EXH read that right, finds the knock. And this team today, this is the second time they found a fight that's been happening right in front of them, right in their backyard. They get aggressive, and they get rewarded for it. Unfortunately, now somebody's taken their play style, and here's Dubhub entering the match, trying to take EXH out in their own fashion. But here comes EXH Clown Car. 3 players in, 3 players out. Benz, sorry, bud. GG's.
Yeah, I think that was definitely the right move there for EXH after they had Mway as well. You had Dubhub, you had every team fighting. That's 5 teams that have fought on this compound in the first 11 minutes of the game, which is absolutely ridiculous to think about, but it has happened. You know, we're looking we haven't even touched on the zone. The zone has shifted. It shifted away from this position as well. So yeah, again, EXH, really smart move to just get away from that one. As the zone, it has kind of still centered up around Rods, but it's still looking like it's a 60-40 chance of it going down south, probably slightly more than that, even more like a 70-30 of a south shift. So obviously QP and CoR are going to have to think about that. Going to have to see if they can maybe get a backup plan in case they do have to cross that water. Of course, could get a little bit lucky, could get one more shift. I think the center of the zone can just fit enough of the north in for it to potentially go as a hard shift to the north in phase 4. But yeah, of course, you know, that is something they're going to have to think about. But yeah, for now, these teams, Milky Way and Dubhub, just deciding to back off from this fight. You can see Dubhub rotating around down towards the south side. Milky Way probably just going to push themselves in. And there's quite a lot of space to play, and that's mainly because we've just lost so many people in this one little compound.
MW, had they done that seconds before, Buster definitely would have been in that engagement with Dubhub here, but I think we've seen enough fights in the blues right there, so we're going to hop off that. Now, on to the next zone here. We've got some great positioning. We have pulled pretty much away from that northern side of the shift here. There is still opportunity for it to pull hard north here, put a lot of pressure on these teams, but generally, we're going for that Rozak school finish in this fashion. Looking to see where the circle does shift here for phase 3, whether it be east or west, giving us a general direction of what to play next here. Dig does find their way here into a nice position outside the ruins here, just sitting very, very quietly with F2S in wait. So, you know, this is the first time they're getting to see some nice early rotations here. Had a rough start to rotating in match number 1. So now just kind of buying some time here, getting some information here, not getting too overzealous here. They're going to play Church, popping a few shots onto F2S here, but that engagement definitely does not need to happen until the next zone shifts, depending on directionality of where these teams want to head. So we'll see what F2S has got. We're going to see how RMV plays into it, sitting in the 6-pack as they do finally regroup as the forward, the circle. Going to pop heading out right towards F2S and Dig. So they've got some great prime real estate here inside this next phase. That's going to push the school, Rozak, Pochinki, all fully out of that zone here, putting, again, the initial push. How many teams will end up in Watertown?
I mean, this is going to be a crazy zone. I don't think I've seen this zone for a little while because, yeah, it's only phase 3, but the zone with so much water in, I think this has got to hard shift fully down to the south here. So you're going to have pretty much a ruins and water town with the hill below it in. And not normally do you get it sort of this far towards ruins. Normally it does sort of go over towards where Skyline EU currently are, or towards the school area or around near Roshawk Hill. So this is going to be, you know, pretty crazy for some of these teams. CoR already going for the rotate up one towards the north. QP going to have to think about doing something very similar as well as Torch trying to full send it straight across towards the middle of the zone. It looks like they want to take Watertown. They're going to be going straight in, realizing what this situation is, realizing what the zone's going to do, and making sure they get themselves in a good position, set up for it. And yeah, they're right next to K7. Got BHE as well, just lurking around that area, but they've got themselves in and got themselves a decent position as well. And it's going to make it hard for these teams to try and find some location in here, because if any other team tries to crash Watertown, good luck, my friends, because that's going to be a real challenge.
I mean, with K7, the way they have spread and Torch now taking the corner spot there, especially with the coastline right there, they're looking for teams to potentially come up from that north side, even though everybody realizing that there's no point to be on the north side. Here comes the shots. Here comes the third party. Here comes the knocks all across the board there. As you can just see the color, the kill feed lighting up. SKE losing some, Dubhub getting some knocks, Aguida, EXH, all involved in a few altercations here. And again, this is where we're going to start to see numbers drop. Phase 3, we've got 51 players still left alive here, but EXH looking grim. They've got 4 kills early on, but it's Lizard in the face of Marco, finds it right underneath the buggy. Nice little shots to come through. There is Tritoon. He's got a grenade cooked up, send it up towards EXH, but it's going to be a little bit too short. Tepiuji already does the work, though, finding the knock, so EXH is going to lose 2 members here after losing one in the earlier engagement. Now just one solo member left for EXH, a little bit more distant from the squad. He's got the vehicle, should be able to play himself out of here, but it's EXH losing 2 members. As we watch the rest of these teams start to rotate, there's more and more worth in that Watertown. But again, Torch and K7 have pretty much, you know, retailed that. They've got that one not for lease. They're not for sale, so you're not going to really get any entry. But QP, realizing the ridge, realizing that there is that little bit of a mountain to stop, are going to put the pressure on to K7, and this is going to open up a door for Torch here. Torch can easily come in back part of this, taking control of Watertown, because QP wastes no time. They're full sending, and they're going to get into the wall here for K7. Losing MW, there's M-Way out. Circle to shift.
Yeah, exactly. QP, as you said, pushing straight in towards Watertown. Tyro trying to hold down this building on his own as the rest of K7. They start wrapping away, and actually that might give an entry point potentially for Torch to even take slightly deeper in towards Watertown, and could cause some problems with K7 pushing out here. But of course, they've got to regroup. They've got to try and make sure they back up their teammate Tyro, who's been left, well, was left on his own with the whole of QP pushing in towards him. You've got to regroup here, or you've got to try and help him get away. And it looks like they want to try and get the kills, but not being able to get anything with the util. Nothing really landing. Major Gurk can get up on towards the top of the building here, but there we go. Destroyer finally being able to get the opening frag, and I think this is going to be K7's time to go. They're regrouping. There we go. Aimbot managed to get one. Grip goes down as well to the molly. Now there's just 2 members left up, and you can just see how aggressive K7 want to get onto this. The nade going up onto the roof. Will that be able to find anything? No, it goes a little bit too far. Slightly overcooked that one. Carland's going to go down, and Major Gurk, the last remaining member, gets back on towards the roof here. Going to jump down. See if he can maybe find one of the members of K7. I think the jump was spotted. It was. One goes down. Goes to try and get the flush. Doesn't quite manage to get it. And Qdex, he had to get back up on his feet. And luckily, no other team wanted to push in this location.
Surprisingly, right? That's we didn't see that backup fight. You know, another fight just concluded. No teams want to get involved. Hello, you guys sure? Nobody? Nobody? Okay, no, it's just K7. There's K7 showcasing that skill there as to why they came out. Desto says, Qdex, you got a little too much finesse. You got a little too much flair on your name, game number 1. I need to take some of that back. So he's going to pick up a 3-piece for himself in that fight against QP. The over-aggression from Desto is just ever so scary, because that man is one of those players that, you know, you could say, oh, you want to be over-aggressive. He could be over-aggressive as much as he wants, and he's still going to come out on top.
Yeah, 100%. You know, as soon as they got that knock, the whole of K7, the call was to go, wasn't it? If they literally saw red, they were like, we're going for this. Paid off massively, you know, really played well. CoR go for a big rotation down towards the south, but the problem is they're pushing right up towards TSS here. Not a lot left to play. That's the problem. This hard shift coming through really did not leave a lot of open ground. Ollie's going to get found there by Lingadoc, so that's the first casualty going down. The smokes are coming out, but not quite being able to come out quick enough. Sutty gets taken down low as well. Let's see if he can maybe get this res up on towards Ollie. So much U2 having to be expelled just for trying to stay in this place, and that's allowing Jimbo to actually try and push up here as well. Polly on the off angle just raining shots down this way. The molly's going to come in. The car's going to go. Ollie's going to get confirmed there. Unfortunately, not being able to get res just before. Sutty gets found by Takashi in the back lines as he tries to take out Polly. Now CoR in a very, very difficult position here, as so many teams have got their number, and they're seeing these as absolutely free kills right now. Yeah, CoR going to struggle to survive much further in this.
Very unfortunate, but one of my favorite positions. They are stuck in a rock and a hard place here. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, you know. You hate to see it happen, but it's just one of those situations where I think everybody gets down to this spot where you have that rock, you got the cover, but where do you go from there? Where else can you play from? They've dispelled probably about 12 smoke grenades. I'm surprised Gav still has 3 left. Suddy's still got 2 left. They even have some util left. So if CoR can make it out of this position, even to gain any more points from here, you know, hats off to you guys here. This is definitely not a position you tend to make it out of 9 out of 10 times right here. So we're going to see where they end up as a phase 5 with 30 seconds on the clock till we start to see that close. TSS will pretty much have to move the same time they do. So it's a matter of where TSS plays to try to get CoR. And you're looking at Dub there in the middle. TSS has visual as to where these guys are at. So do you focus on CoR so long, or do you kind of buy your way into this next zone? Sure, you're going to be able to pick up the kills on CoR, but if you don't focus on Dub's going to have not only you, but whatever they can pick up off the scab kills here for CoR.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, as you said, you know, these teams are going to have to start thinking about the rotation coming through as well. We see Aguita going for the rotation as well up towards the north, as they're going to see if they can maybe find themselves a little bit of a spot. But the fact that Skyline and you are still here means that ridge not going to be viable for the moment. They're going to have to really try and bunker down here a little bit. But Skyline, they're going to have to try and move it as well soon. So we'll see where they do decide to go. Somehow, I don't know how CoR is still alive, but they are down in the south, as Gav been able to get in towards the zone, but he's been spotted there by RMV. He takes a lot of damage, but Howard gets the knock on towards Q from TSS, and I think the res might be viable, but the zone right on their back, I don't know how much long they're going to be able to expend on to trying to get this res. And I think
he's going to get it. He's got to get it now.
Yeah, he's going to go for the pickup actually and try and carry him in, but surely just going to put him into a more area that's slightly more exposed. This is a very risky carry hit. Jimbo just managed to get Howard down, and so he's going to buy them a little bit of extra time to try and get this res.
Well played from TSS. Did not look like the smartest play, but they're able to make it work. There are good shots coming out from both Jimbo and Link. Able to find Howard there. A little bit of help from K7, it looks like they're from the side, keeping the pressure on. As Suddy now falls. QDex to find Wizzy here. K7 not stopping with their foot on the gas. Their kills keep coming in for that team here. They're definitely going to keep whatever they can, the momentum in the shift of the W. And it looks like this is exactly what we're looking for from K7 here. SKEU is going to make the crash here just outside. After putting the pressure onto Aguita, they have to forcefully move themselves here. Now they've got Dubhub pretty much lying in wait. They've got to be very, very careful not to give too much information over to Dubhub with TSS starting to full send here on the bottom. SKEU not looking likely like they're going to make it out of the positioning here with so much pressure here from the third-party situations here. Polino almost gets a nice knock there with the barrel trying to find Hacker over the top. SKEU still has 9 seconds left to get into phase 6 before that damage starts to chunk there. And there's Polino traded out from Skyline. QRXZ does find one knock on the Hacker, but there goes trade for trade. SKEU, TSS, it's Skyline versus Jimbo. There is both trades come through. Skyline has no health left there, but is able to pull the first aid off there as the smokes come through, trying to buy the res here on to QRXZ. Here goes the 1v1 back in play. Can Jimbo find the knock? Fell short there in the last match for the victory here, but still he's getting another chance to relive it. From the side comes Dubhub Dill. Able to find that and not only find the kill, but he's going to get given a care package. One more still to walk into that zone. Dubhub living it up right now.
Yeah, really, really well played there from Dill to try and wrap around there, trying to finish off that fight in TSS. Unfortunately, after their dominant performance in the open qualifiers, I thought we were starting to see it in game number 1 when they came away with a second place, but not quite being able to do quite so much in this game. Unfortunately, they are going to fall in 10th place. 9 teams left up then, and it's starting to really get towards the chaotic end. Dig going to be fighting with F2S, with RMV, with Overwatch as well, over towards the ruins area. Washington by Anthology, with Grigui confirming Wizzy away, so that's at least a couple of points that F2S will be able to pick up. Belton's been confirmed as well, but Armenians gets caught in the back line. Ben N's going to be getting there. RMV doing so much work in the kill feed. They just seem to be third-partying for everyone here. Anthology going to get confirmed there. Washed going to pick up that point for Dig. And it's just Komi left up now for F2S and washed for Dig. So a 1v1 going on down in the ruins. But I think either of these teams not really going to come off too good because RMV, they are ready to take up whoever managed to get out of this fight alive.
A bunch of chaos coming out of ruins. Dig and FSS, or F2S, excuse me, have pretty much been just lying in wait here, waiting for this to come through. Now you can see Washed and Kiyumi literally just existing on opposite sides of the wall from one another. Both too scared to make that push there. Kiyumi does buy himself the time, gets the res onto Arminus, so it's 2 players up for F2S, both barely outside the zone, so that's a fight that's going to happen. But it's RMV now done with the third party. They're taking the initial fight straight on to Dubhub here. They found Dill, they found Skokik, and they're also going to find Entels to close that fight out. Dubhub down and out from a beautiful push behind from RMV. They're able to clutch that one up there, looking like it was grim for a second, but it's RMV. F2S finds the knock. No, excuse me, gets knocked from Dig. Washed almost able to turn the tables onto FSS as the res did come through. It's a re-knock. Kiyumi should be able to pick him up, carry him in, and we get back to the fight here with Torch and K7, which has been inevitable. It's been dying, it's been burning, the flame's been lit, and now it's not going to be put out until one of these teams dies.
Yeah, certainly not. Arminius might be able to get back up on his feet as well here. I think F2S just really had to have enough time to be able to do so before the blue catches them. Torch doing a lot of damage as well to K7. Unfortunately, Merc was confirmed away by QDex, but the confirmation coming through on towards Tyro as well does hit. Picking up that kill point. QDex finally getting finished off there by Fizz as Torch now to try and make their way in towards zone. Again, no massive dominant kills coming out from any of these teams. We've got 5 kills here on towards Torch and also 5 kills on RMV, 4 on Aguita, so just not big kill games coming through. Nothing on CoR as well, but he has been spotted here as well as he tries to get in towards this dip, and it looks like the whole of Aguita want to try and focus on this. So with only a few teams left up, let's go and head over towards Aguita's comms, because I feel like this is going to be a really vital time for them in this game.
No sé quién es el de... del rodicito, tío.
Yo no soy.
Cuidado con
lo
los
estoy escuchando,
míos.
bebé. Sí, lo sé.
Pero ¿por dónde más o menos? Estoy tirando piñas random ahí
En el
por tirar.
hueco, justo.
Tritón, mira tú arriba de la montaña.
¿De Pepe?
No.
No, arriba tuya, Guizar, justo.
Ya.
Lo
No
veo.
los veo, si te hacemos por ese lado no los veo,
Tranquilo, estoy curando.
Tengo que moverme yo, Tenéis que cubrir un poco.
Puede que hayan tirado, que sea FSS y RMV el tuyo.
No.
¿No?
Este tiene que limpiarlo, sea como sea.
Ahí sale, ahí asoma un poquillo.
Pepe, tenéis más zona que él.
Bueno. Cógeme, cógeme y llévame a repecho. Bueno, no puedo.
No.
Estoy muerto yo, tranqui, estoy muerto. Jugaba ahí despacio. No lo tenía encima,
No, y hay una rata derecha,
Vale.
There you have it. Some very chaotic comms coming out from Aguita there, actually. You know, Gav just causing them so many problems in the back lines. Unfortunately, did manage to catch one before they managed to get the kill on towards him, and that led to RMV being able to steal that one away. So Aguita going to have to carry it on as a 3-man, but yeah, you know, only 3 teams left up. They're in a pretty decent position, but RMV, they've got another couple of kills on the board, and could this be the first big kill game we get to see from a team here? Only 2 members left of Torch up. Aguita as well, only a 3, but 4 still strong for RMV, and they're dead center of zone and on the biggest hill you've ever seen.
Sitting in the middle of the map here, RMV taking control of the zone here. Good comms coming out there from Aguita. You know, it's hectic sometimes. You have nothing but what you have to go on, especially when you have that, you know, that snake player lying in back, and Gav doing what he can to cause chaos there. Almost gets that kill, like you said, unfortunately gets stolen away. Torch doing what they can to just keep chaos on Aguita here. But my attention on RMV sitting on the top side of this hill. They have all the information. They are in the middle of both these teams here, looking at, you know, kind of the scope of things here. But nonetheless, here RMV has been third party their information. Their gun skill this match has just been unmatched here. They've been able to put down Dubhub. They've been able to turn attention to some third party fights. And now they just got 2 teams ahead of them. Aguita lying in wait at the bottom of the hill there, and Torch just sitting here waiting for the fight, I believe, between Aguita and RMV to happen. Neither Fizz or Kiyomi has moved an inch since they've laid down in that spot there. So Torch just keeping angles here. One has the left, one has the right, waiting for the potential push to come as they're both inside the zone. It's an RMV Aguita fight starting to break out as the util's in play. Takashi goes for the first knock with a nicely tossed nade. Does damage onto both players for Aguita. But again, these nades just not as strong as they used to be, so it's just going to do just that damage.
Yeah, exactly. Certainly is. RMV just raining shots down towards Torch to try and make sure they can't aggress any further. But they're just having to prone down. They can't really do too much from this position. There's a bit of a stalemate going on as well before this zone is going to center up because, yeah, with this hill, no one wants to overstep the mark. Aguita got themselves some nice ridges as well on towards that side. And that's what I say. I love these sort of zones, you know, around this area because it is all about the hillsides. It's very similar to a Miramar game where you're kind of worrying about all the little dips and divots and mountains and, the different terrain options you've got ahead of you. It really does change things up. So, yeah, you know, Aguita notoriously good at Miramar. Maybe they've got a chance of turning the tables here on towards RMV in this sort of game, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see because RMV, they've got 3 gear, they've got Grozers, they've got 4 up, they've got the numbers, and Aguita look like they're just buying time right now as all the util going their way. Molly's nothing landing though. A few stuns do cause the blind, but there we go. Benham's managed to get the first initial knock. Takashi getting the second to follow up, and Lizard now left to fend for himself. Does catch JB down, so that is at least 1 knock going their way. Tries to instant turn here, but I think Torch looks like they want to try and get aggressive here on this as well. Because they're going to use this as an advantage to try and take the high ground. Comey going to be able to find Lizard. That's another kill point and placement point going their way. And RMV now having to push back up the hill. They've just pushed down from. Fizz finds 1. Could RMV potentially have thrown this away by moving off the mountain? It's quite possible. Benham's on the side. Holding up the top there. Fizz managed to get Benham's though, and it's just a 1v2 situation now. Torch doing so much work. This is really smart play. 2 now up for RMV. So they do manage to get JB back up on his feet. Takashi gets Komi. It's just down to Fizz. 1v2 situation now. Fizz holding down on this.
To say the least there. Precision timing coming out there from Torch in order to take home that chicken dinner. Could not have asked for a better game from Torch there. Again, they lied in wait, and just sat there for a good 2-3 minutes there until that final phase came through. Once the phase did shift, man, that was some mechanics coming out there from Fizz. The 2-man of Torch come through to take on a full 4 of RMV. There was battered and bruised there from Aguita, but nonetheless, you cannot take any of the shots, any of the pressure that was just put on there from Torch. Torch, well played. RMV, a good follow-up game. Boston to put some consistent points on the board. You were very strong on kills that match, almost topping out at 10. But again, you know, with the timing of Torch right there and the precision of those shots, RMV will fall short. They're coming out in just 2nd place.
Yeah, exactly. Falling just short there, unfortunately, RMV. And I feel like that push off of that hillside really did cause them problems. Yeah, they managed to pick up 3 kills on towards Aguita, but if they had just held patiently up on that hillside, it could have been potentially another 5 kills and the win. So really not sure about that move, especially with how good Torch are when they get the high ground and get the position on that.
Hands down, could have definitely been done in a completely different fashion. You know, RMV held the high ground the entirety of that final circle, was ready pretty much to take that game home. And, you know, you have to respect the push onto Aguita when the knocks come through. RMV played it out. They had both knocks. Lizard, you know, found the first knock there, and then they even got help from Torch. I think Kiyomi ended up, or I'm sorry, not Kiyomi, one of the Torch members, I don't know if it was Fizz, ended up knocking and getting that kill onto Aguita. So, you know, they did the work for RMV potentially there. If RMV would have just been a little bit more patient, could have definitely been sitting on the other side of that chicken dinner rather than being the delivery boy bus. They would have been the ones taking that, getting it from Uber, and then would have had some nice chicken dinner to sit on here. You know,
Welcome back to the CoR European Showdown. It's the grand finals. It is day number 1, and we are shortly going to be going into game number 3, straight over to the Sandy Dunes. Had to get there in before Harry said it because I knew he was so eager to say that. But see, do they have what it takes? It was a tough qualifying round for them, but we're through to the finals now. Take it away, boys. Miramar, it's all yours.
Thank you very much.
You know, but there's still that 10% of the map, like El Cantara, the Ruins, Campo Militar, and we just don't get to see these areas ever with a finish. And if we can get the finishes in some of these zones, I mean, talk about the excitement for PUBG again. Talk about the potential for players to come back when you get to have a Trailer Park finish, have an El Cantara finish. I don't care if I don't ever see another Los Leones finish. I don't care if I don't see another Power Grid Graveyard finish. Give me something off the side. Give me something where I'm spinning my head around and I'm watching these players scramble and rack their brains here to be the best of the best here, PUBG. Come on.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you hit it on the head. When it's those weird zones that people aren't used to playing, you really have to see the pure skill coming out from these teams to see what they can do. And we've seen this sort of zone before, just north of Hacienda, but it is quite north compared to what we're used to. So maybe we'll see one around water treatment, maybe go up towards Cruz de Val. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. We have got a couple of teams, though, that are scrapping a little bit in El Azhar. Both F2S and EXH. Once again, EXH having a very early fight. The problem is this time it's been brought by another team. And so they are, they can't take that third party. They can't take that just random crash on towards the team and take that numbers advantage. This is a straight 4v4. And this will be interesting to see how it plays out, when they're kind of on a level playing field.
Yeah, here it is again. Yeah, both teams kind of expecting the wait. They know they're there, right? There's somebody in town with you, but it's these town city finishes, these town city battles. That you have to kind of guess, the amount of angles, the difference of angles here. You've got so many different windows, so many different positions you can take in these towns here. So it's going to come down to that first knock. How close are you? There's just so many questions you can be asked and so many questions you can try to avoid yourself from asking when getting into these fights here. As we're just going to watch FSS. I like the 2-2 split they have going on because if you look at the mentality of it, they have the road, the exit pretty much out into that next zone right there. So, they've got a nice little split. Expecting EXH potentially to full send down that road, but Marco is behind them. Benz could easily wrap around there for that for like the exit up towards the north side. They are barely in the zone, so again, the pressure not really all there too much. These teams could easily sit this out all the way to the end of phase 1 to have a tougher rotation for phase 2, but don't really need to take this fight. So being EXH, as aggressive they've been, I'd expect them to take the fight, but how long it's taken them now to set up with this aggressive push, I think their mentality here is just kind of, if we don't have to take the fight, we'll take it, we'll rotate in, and then we'll get it when we get it. But there's no over-aggression from EXH here in order to get F2S out of the lobby here. So kind of respect to that, as again, EXH has had those early kills here today, but has not really been able to see like that, the final end game here where the placement points start to really make more of a difference.
Yeah, exactly. A couple of pop shots coming out from Tweakon towards Comey. Not quite being able to find anything there, though. And Comey just sort of almost backing off. But he keeps peeking the same angle. And I feel like, maybe that might come back to bite him shortly. As Tweak already quite low, actually. Well, he's already taken some damage anyway. I don't know if he's actually got... he has got the boost on. Hasn't got too much in the form of meds. So just need to be a little bit careful if he's going to be taking this fight. As he's got a couple of F2S members quite close by. And potentially there is a chance that they could, they could kind of pincer him a little bit. But yeah, it's a bit of a weird fight, this one, isn't it? It's kind of taking quite a while to sort of break out. Nothing really going on in this one. And just a bit of a stalemate situation, to be honest. But neither team really in a position to be able to leave either, because they're kind of all intertwined with each other.
Yeah, I mean, we've got the water on the stove. It's boiling. It's boiling. It's yeah, I see the bubbles coming up. But we don't want to sit here too much longer to watch that water boil. Eventually, it's not going to get too much hotter here. So we're just wondering, EXH, are you going to be able to take this fight? We'll see, later on. The rotation, though, starting to come out from a few teams as we enter that 5-minute mark of phase number 1 here. So the circle will start to close in, and teams should start to position themselves here relatively early on. But as I say that, actually only TSS and I think M-Way are some of the only teams to actually be upon the rotation. You can see QP, BHE, and Dig all still kind of waiting to take this rotation, as well as GT and K7. So, not necessarily needing to take this route right now. But again, it's so advantageous on Miramar to get those early rotations to avoid choke points being set up here. You know, if I was WC, I would potentially think about setting a nice little trap here at that compound, because that's just a nice little choke point for a lot of the southern teams here. You've got those 3 ways into the map. You can see one coming through Minas, the other one past that graveyard, and then right where CoR Studies at, you can see right below the compounds there, the other entry point into San Martin. And again, those are some of the quickest ways in. Otherwise, you're bobbing, you're dipping, you're diving, you know, through the rocks, through the mountains here. Again, it's very ridgy and very hilly, so such a different terrain than Erangel. So rotation definitely as important on Erangel as it is on Miramar, but just more effective in the sense that, you know, if you get there early, you're going to have to avoid some of the fights that are pretty much unnecessary in these first phase 1, phase 2 fights.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's all about those rotations, trying to get yourself nice and central if you possibly can. WC got themselves very close to Torch, though, and I'm not quite sure this is the best location. I think Macca's probably just getting out to maybe get some extra info here. I don't know how much sound Torch are making down in this compound, but potentially could be a position that WC want to try and take. No, they are taking some shots down towards WC, so yeah, they're just going to try and take this other compound instead over the road. Completely free. Should be absolutely fine in there. Get themselves in there, but it looks like Skyline and you want to crash in as well at the same time, and they're driving straight in towards the middle of it. Spencer going to be the first person they're going to meet, and he gets taken down there by Hacker. 2 members of Skyline, though, crashing in here, and they're now outnumbered. Nice big knock coming through, but instantly returned there by Hacker. Macca's going to go down, and I think Hacker might even be in a position to have to try and go for the res here on towards Skylinks, and that could be huge and really turn the table back. Macca's also going to get res, though, and yeah, Skyline EU, I'm not quite sure what the call was there, but the rest of the team look like they want to try and crash into this as well, and once again, could be some more problems here for WC, who are yet to pick up a point yet in this tournament.
Scary games for WC right now. Let me tell you, scary games for WC. And, you know, SKEU, you know, had held this compound earlier. They literally got in the vehicle to go pick up the side member right there, and that's what set up, you know, WC in order to make the push here. Now Beater will come in, and WC still going to lose Bonkai. They were able to get the res, so back up to 3, but then right back down to 2, and then the confirmation from Shane will take Spencer. Hacker knocked again for the first time here as Beater should be able to stick this res. The grenade almost confirmed. Makaz actually with the M4 through the side will pick up that kill. So WC finally adding 1 point to the kill total. I think they did get 1 in that first fight for Erangel on top of the Blues there, but it's just been rough for WC here. You know, they had the initial beat, the power in numbers was for WC, but SKEU, you got Hacker and Beater who were just putting up some good shots, finding knock for knock, stick the res, and now turn the tables here yet again on WC.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I did just check the leaderboard, and yeah, 0 points. So I reckon that knock did get stolen away at some point. EXH, though, they're lighting up the kill feed once again. They managed to get F2S out, and that's the fight finally breaking out over there. Macca's, though, is going to be leading out himself as well, and Skylink's going to come in there to confirm dynamics. And yeah, that's 3 games now, and only 1 kill, 1 point on the board for WC. You know, you said we're so used to seeing them do so well, especially when it comes to Miramar, and yeah, okay, maybe they've had their best game so far of the night on Miramar, but it's not exactly a good one to go home and be happy about. So, you know, hopefully we get to see them reset and manage to group with the rest of the other teams on the leaderboard towards the top eventually. But yeah, they're really going to have to come out swinging now because not many games remain left in this week's final.
It again is only 8 games here for this week in the grand finale here, being that it is 2 different weeks. Again, we were talking about the breakdown of the entirety of the competition here. You got money to win this week, a reset next week, and money to win next week. And then again, I think you were saying there is also a chance for between the 2 weeks, money to be given out in that sense as well. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, you are. So we've there's only a prize fought first over the 2 weeks. So obviously, you know, you have to be a consistent team. But the thing with that is you know, you have to have at least either week 1 or week 2 being a very good week, because otherwise, you know, you're going to really struggle to be in contention for that. Obviously, if you have a bad week this week, you can come back and you're still in contention for the prize of week 2. The chance of you being the best team overall, especially when you've got so many teams that are being so consistent so far already, 2 games in, you know, is going to be a challenge. But, you know, it does reward those teams that are the most consistent. And, you know, you could have a team that finishes 4th just out the money in both weeks, and yet they manage to come away with the overall prize if the top 3 changes dramatically. So, you know, definitely consistency is key for, you know, each individual final as well as the overall one too.
Hands down, you know, and we're looking at just mechanically gifted teams here, just able to show up and just showcase these skills here. watching the circle rotate here, I'm just kind of keyed. I'm checking a few details here on some of our teams here. Again, just trying to gather some stats here on these guys here. 2 games into the match. They're seeing if there's going to be a trend set by some of the teams who have managed to, then be consistent, have managed to, put up some high numbers here. But there's not too much overall consistency aside from K7. A couple other teams, did put up some numbers. But this isn't one of those comps where you see the same 3 teams inside the same, top 5. We're getting some variety. We're getting some difference. Even though it's just been 2 games in, we still have 14 teams alive going into this final phase 3. Excuse me, not final. This next phase 3 shift here, and we're just seeing a lot more players alive. I'm just respectable. It's so much more rewarding to each individual player to then have these fights later on in the game than just give points to some of the bigger orgs and some of the bigger teams right off the rip. Really making it more of a challenge here for some of the lighter teams to make way. Who QP stops. They're going to set up. They're going to maybe find BHE on a choke point here. No, BHE does manage to get themselves away in time. Zenking having to pull off, driving through the mountains. Looked grim there for BHE, almost losing all 3 on rotation, but they're able to reset up, and now they can then turn the tables, set up the choke point here for QP, as QP still has a journey to make themselves inside that next zone.
Yeah, exactly. They certainly do. And going to have to try and get in here. We've not seen too much here, have we, so far from BHE? Unfortunately, have been struggling a little bit, first couple of games. But hopefully they can move that around a little bit going into game number 3 here, as we see. Yeah, they are trying to find a way in towards this zone, but the problem is they're going right past another choke point. It's going to be caught up on this hill, and luckily, Milky Way have decided to go there first, so PHE hearing the shots just decided, you know what, no, we're going to avoid that, and we're going to go right the way around. And actually, this could be a great rotation here for PHE if they manage to, if they don't come in too early, they can get all the way around to near Cruz de Val, and there's absolutely no one over there, so they could be in a really nice spot coming into the next phase.
Definitely some opportunity. It looks like Emway has a nice little crash on a TSS. Unfortunately, they've been given too much information, so TSS is aware of the crash here. Opting to just grab some information. They're realizing TSS is inside water treatment. They're opting to pull away. And as you were talking earlier, we might have the potential here for the water treatment finish here. So TSS has the high and the low ground here covered for water treatment just in case that circle does decide to pull back in this direction. Hacienda is still in the mix here. We haven't seen a finish in Hacienda, I don't think, in quite some time. I don't know about you guys on the core side of things, but the last time that I seen a Hacienda finish, it was, classic PUBG days.
Yeah, I haven't seen a finish over here for a very long time. I think there was a finish over by Cruz de Val, I think, when we had Mark still casting on console. So, obviously back doing PCL, but before he left, that was the last time I saw any zone around this area. So, it has been a long time. I think one of the SSL seasons, I think we saw it over there towards the start of the year. So, it's very uncommon, this zone, and that zone has, yes, it's centered up. Yes, a lot of teams are going to be in, but there's not a lot of space. If you're not already in here in a good compound, you're in a really bad spot, and it's going to be difficult here for both QP, CoR, to try and push in on this location, because DubHub and TSS both got positions to try and gatekeep, and CoR able to gatekeep QP, but the problem is this is just going to be carnage, because you're going to have them trying to take the fight on towards the edge of zone on QP, but then you're going to have DubHub in the back line just trying to stop anyone that manages to survive that fight from getting into the zone.
There's just so much rotation, so much information that should be getting gathered in this circle. If you don't gather it now, it is definitely going to be a very troublesome remainder of this game. Again, we start sitting on those 14 teams, have not lost a player since last mentioned. And again, these players are rotating very, very smart. There's not a whole lot of room here, but everybody has found their niche. Everybody has found their place to kind of coexist here. SKEU can easily backfill right into EXH's 2 warehouses there where they're sitting on top of the hill. There actually Ben's, as I say, that sends his way over to the warehouse, potentially to stop that from happening here. Again, you don't want to have to fight off the warehouses here. If you can keep the team out and on the rotation here, smart moves from EXH. As we got Aguida centered up there, rotating, they backfill. They actually left the compound right above Torch there in order to take that position here. So good plays coming out from Aguida to just stay the most essential here. So aside from a hard shift, we'll still probably be in the next 2 zones, and then just have to worry about then playing out the end game here. It's QP who's taking this weird 2-1 split here, trying to avoid the fight with CoR. They've lost Specky. No, I'm sorry, they've lost Kyle too. So it's just the 2 members left up from QP. Trying to then make their way in, but CoR has found their way, has found 2 kills on this team, and is not making it easy. Still not letting up the pressure from about 200-300 meters away.
Yeah, exactly. This is just QP trying to push away. There wasn't much QP could do, to be honest. They were in such a bad position. Unless they had vehicles, they could have maybe gone for a wide rotate or gone through the blue a little bit. They were always going to run into a team here. They tried to pull away from the fight with CoR, which was probably quite smart in their position. But the problem was you had Milky Way and TSS down towards the south side. CoR managed to catch one out as well, who was slightly disconnected from the rest of the team. And now the problem is they've got to try and make their way in. And Dubhub, they've got full line of sight down on towards this, as well as they're just continuing to pop the shots here towards CoR as they... I think they're just denying line of sight here a little bit in this valley. They might be able to get in a little bit closer, but yeah, how much further can they get? We'll have to wait and see, because yeah, I mean, it's just absolute carnage for everyone on this side that's not already in the zone. Aguita still holding down the center compound as well. Then they're in a really nice spot, and we said Aguita Miramar zones always solid and get themselves into good spots, and that's exactly what they've done in here. They're looking pretty good for this one. As you got BHE and GT also not in a bad position to try and push in, but the zone has popped. It's centered up once again, and aside from a little compound that's just still available here just to the north of Torch, there's really not a lot for these other teams to play. This is going to be absolute carnage going on all the edges of the zones. East, you can see how many teams are in such a small location. Polly trying to see if he can maybe make his way up this hillside and cause some problems here for CoR. They've still got themselves a decent position over this ridgeline, and Polly needs to be careful that he doesn't suddenly get into the sight lines of Dubhub, because yeah, they could really catch him out as well. So yeah, he's just holding off a little bit, waiting for the right moment to pop up. But I think he might be able to find some. No, he's having to back off. He is taking some damage from Dubhub, and thankfully for CoR, he gets away.
Yeah, is it going to be enough though? CoR, unfortunately, has no vehicles, still having to run straight through Dubhub, then having to wash their backside from TSS. Even though they did make some good moves out of QP right there, sometimes that information that was just given there, your QP, your Dubhub, your TSS, you're just now waiting in that next zone for this team to move forward here. Now, if you had the vehicle, could have definitely been the better move here. It's just unfortunate there. So hopefully CoR is going to find their way in, but it's looking very, very grim. Like their time is limited here in this next game. And they'll have to then play for game number 4. There's still 48 players left alive here, and that's just an amazing amount of players here to be in this zone. You can see how congested some sides of the circle are getting, and we're going to see that kill feed start to light up here at any moment.
Yeah, exactly. Nades being thrown all over the place from Dubhub. Entel's finally getting the first opening knock on towards CoR. Gav gets taken down very low. Needs to be careful because he's back right up against the blue. Let's try and reposition here a little bit, but Entel gets returned there by Gav. So that is a 1-for-1 trade. The problem is CoR are fighting in the blue right now. They're really not in a good position. The nades coming out here from CoR as well on towards Dubhub, not quite landing. Ollie goes down here. Gav having to try and hit another med as Dubhub. The problem is they're holding themselves out here, trying to get these kills, but TSS, they've wrapped right the way around. They're now in a really good position here in the zone to be able to potentially catch some of these outs. Go Kick needs to be careful as well. He doesn't quite go down to zone. Keeps up on 1 HP, but does need to try and just back off on that one. Can't afford to take any more blue damage. Gav continuing as a solo once again for CoR as the zone, as soon as it hits, that is going to do a lot of damage, and he needs to be careful with this one. Dubhub, they've got themselves vehicles in the zone here, though. It's almost like they've set themselves up for an escape route if they do get into those cars, and are now going to just try and full send it in towards the zone. But yeah, it's not going to be easy for them at all. However, with obviously knowing that CoR have been dealt with in the back, they are going to have a little bit more space to play for themselves.
Creating a little bit of breathing room is important here. When we were just talking, there was 14 teams remaining here, so they're going to create some breathing room. They don't take care of all, of course, so there's still that lurking factor in the back. You can also see Benzo right below CoR Gav there. He's going to be solo out for Milky Way here, so some solo players lurking yet again here, maybe to make their way inside that top 5 here, but it's TSS and RMV getting into it here as Polino will get knocked for Takashi. RMV playing some great games today. They've already found a link, and now they just have 2 remaining TSS members still to take care of. And there goes the second and the third knock from Ben Ems, and to confirm right off the rip. Good shots, JB and Ben Ems. Nice tag team coming out to put down Jimbo right there. QRXZ holding behind the rock, trying to do what he can as Dubhub steps in to give a little bit of attention here. They're going to find Takashi. Not able to confirm, though, so RMV able to reset with the res here, leaving just a 2v1 with QRXZ. He's going to find the first, goes back to find the second as he cooks up a grenade. Signed up with disaster. The bounce is good. Not far enough, though. BetM's able to survive, but QRXZ still getting credit as the damage was enough. pretty much to deny the res there for JB. Another grenade in the face of JB, but a little bit too high, so not going to do enough damage. Will allow JB inside the smoke still just to buy some more time, popping a few meds, popping some boosts there, and then putting the attention here. But now 3 solo players on this side of the map, 1-for-1, lined up with each other. Gav, Benzo, and QRXZ just waiting in line for each other.
Yeah, exactly. Just shots absolutely peppering across the zone as well. GT tried to take some shots on towards EXH. Do manage to get the opening knock on towards them. BHE trying to push in towards the 2-man of GT, though, up in the north. They've gone for a bit of a split, and now 2 members of GT having to hold off the whole of BHE, but not going to be able to do so, as Nata does find the first opening knock. Neki from range does manage to get return on towards him, so helping Walshy out a little bit, but Walshy now solo right up against there, but doesn't matter because he managed to find Zen King. That's going to be a nice opening knock there for him as well, as he's doing his best to try and hold off on towards these advances here from BHE. Milky Way crashing out there. Mingo finding the solo there for them. And that's one of the solos going down on towards that eastern side. But BHE still continuing to try and push in here towards GT's position. He doesn't quite realise where he is, though. And Kaneki finds Larry as well. Cliff going to be the last remaining member. I think Solis might be able to get rezzed here as well. Zen King going to be rezzed here by Cliff to try and even the numbers slightly. But the problem is GT, they're back up to a full 4. And EXH don't look like they're fully aggressing on towards this one. But K7, they want to get aggressive round here on towards the south. And on this push, we can tune into the comms and try and see what K7 are talking about as they go onto this push on towards EXH.
Nading right now, nading right now.
I'm going right.
Hard right. I got a smoke.
Behind the rock on the right side. Watching me, boys.
They're not getting res
Should be
yet.
on
They
HP.
haven't res yet. I got res. You watch.
I'm not gonna
All dead. GT up top. They're gonna be pushing over from north, or they're gonna hold their ridge. Watch the push. One got knocked. One GT just got knocked. Three up. One GT. Push the hill. Oh, they.
Play aggressive. It's only 3 man.
Flash over. Getting shot in the back.
We gotta push.
I'm healing.
Play in the shot 15, bro. Weak.
I'm pushing far.
I'm grabbing helmet. They're getting fucked. Coming over now. One's
Two
behind
up,
the shot.
boys.
One's behind the shot. Maybe one
I
smoke.
see it.
One's behind the shot. Ah,
one
nice.
behind the
One
shot.
up.
We're keep
Where is he?
pushing or...
In shack, I think.
Inside the shack,
Yeah,
inside the shack. Another team.
Be careful for the team behind.
Team behind's pushing. Team
Team behind, yep.
Fight this then, yeah.
It's gonna be torch.
Fight this. He's on the ridge on ping. There's one close. He's got no
This is
helmet, I
gonna be
think.
torch.
245 towards my molly. He's
Got a
running
nade
the
going
ridge.
towards
He's
it.
running the ridge. He's exposing to compound, pushing us like this on my line. I knocked one. Nice.
Is there two men? Or no?
Far back rock.
There you have it then. Really good comms there from Torch. You know, K7 really efficient with, you know, their call-outs. You know, they don't want, you know, they give precise information, very tight, and they knew exactly what was going on. They had people watching the back lines, they had people watching the front, and unfortunately Ghost is going to find one of K7. Desto is going to go down. Aimbot does manage to get Merc in return though, but Destroyer is going to get confirmed, so that's going to be another member. K7 going down and trying to wrap around towards the side. QDX is taken down very low, but does manage to get Ghost down as Fear's not able to do anything as he's trying to get the res up on towards Merc.
That was one heck of a nade coming out there from Torch Ghost. Ghost able to line it up, place the first one just as good as he placed the second one there, as it found the knock confirmed instantly there. K7 able to do some damage in return, like you were saying, but it's 6 teams remaining, 16 alive there as K7 makes the approach to take EXH. EXH still not seeing that late game circle out before, you know, they're in that top 5 situation. So even though they're able to put some firepower on, they're able to find some numbers, still falling short of this top 5, but it's RMV with some consistent games. Aguida, again, who we talked about doing so great on Miramar here. Are they going to be able to showcase this talent with RMV just full effect, sending it? And then one of the rarest forms we see RMV. These guys are just non-stop with aggression here. All the third-party action, the information, the scouting. Look at Takashi, just comes through with a nice little flank. Has Pepe Uji scrambling, trying to get these reses here. As Kadash should be able to come through the push from Kadash, but not only Kadash, Takashi with the backup there is ready and waiting as Pataboko will fall. Lizard with the Molotov inside should be able to find Takashi with that one, but it's Kadash hopefully there to stop any more further damage from Lizard. He's got a gas can I see cooked up from Lizard. He's got the gas can play. He's going to line it up, wait for RMV potentially to push. We may see some burning RMV members here in the near future.
Yeah, quite possibly RMV just having to hold off here a little bit in their shack. As Torch, they're fully aggressed on towards this. After they pushed on towards K7, they managed to get a couple down. They managed to get one kill, but Torch decided to back off, and that one has only been 2-man, and they've gone straight in towards this compound where the RMV and the Aguita fight is breaking out. Lizard is holding down on towards the background situation right now. So you can hear the players around him. You can hear Kadosh directly below him, but can't quite spot the player. There we go. The shots are coming out. Lizard going to have to get that opening knock. Fizz going to steal that one away, though, as Torch using this as a chance to push in. Kashi still staying so quiet here in this shack. I don't know if Fizz is aware that he's in here, but it does look like he seems to have some sort of knowledge, and this molly could be fatal. Does go in, but doesn't actually do the damage. Takashi pushing straight out. Fizz takes a big chunk of damage there. Takashi tries to push around, does find Fizz through the window. And now Merc versus Takashi. Fizz, the molly just landing before Fizz goes down, and that is going to be RMV crashing out, and potentially this res is going to be viable on towards Fizz, but Lizard, he looks like he wants to try and pick up these kills for himself.
He's looking good. He's got the right position. He's lying on tops here, sitting on top of the building here. Them Molotovs were perfect inside the building, not only from Lizard, but also from Fizz there. Unfortunately, Lizard got the confirmation on his own teammate. Fizz was able to actually get credit for RMV in the back. Zed King, who's been fighting tooth and nail. They've been doing their thing over on the side, not to discount BHE. They fought themselves in, avoiding the fight with K7, taking the roundabout on Torch here. But it's AZ, it's Lizard. Lizard trying to come in with the 1v1 with Merc. Merc almost gets the knock here as Lizard has 6 HP. Does Merc spot him through the window? Should have got the visual. Did. Now holding the angle there on the hard peak here as Lizard pulls out the double barrel. Let me get some sawed-off shotgun action here from Lizard. He's got it in hand, waiting for the push to come through. He's stunned. Is he going to see Merc through the window? Waiting still for that right push. Comes through, hits the shot. But Merc just better with the barrel right there. Will win that fight against Lizard. Torch, 1 member left up against K7 with 3. Looks like we may have the second chicken dinner of the night for K7 as we look at 3v1 versus Torch. Oh,
yeah, Merc just realizing the situation. Yeah, Merc just realizing the situation. Thinks no, direct competition going into that game, very, very close to each other in terms of points, and just thought, no, I'm not going to give him any more points, and he's going to go down. K7 having 3 up that time though when they finished the game, much better than when it was just down to QDex. But yeah, great game there from K7. But Torch, 10 kills to their name as well.
Fantastic round there. RMV, did get cut a little bit short here. Again, sitting out in 6th place here. But again, big kills from RMV, 8 kills yet again. Torch able to pick up a nice amount of kills there, sitting on 10 kills, I believe, that match. Aguita finally finds some rhythm, and it's BHE in that top 4. Finally joins the group up here. A little bit of help from Zen King Cliff making the moves there. So we'll see if BHE can close up here. Maybe Miramar seeming to be their map. And then a couple of those other teams sitting on the bottom right-hand side of that leaderboard, I'd like to see have a good final game. Still looking at WC to come up and show up what we have on Miramar. So there's some hope, Silencer.
Yeah, exactly. Great game there. What did you make of that one, Matt?
Yeah, it's great to see these teams, Merc at the end. It just shows, how tuned in these players are. He was involved in a 3-way fight essentially there and still had, the knowledge to recognise that it was a 3v1 and he was outnumbered, reading the kill feed. When the games are coming at you, the shots are coming at you that thick and fast. It is no easy feat. And you heard, K7 with the comms there especially, they knew who was coming. They knew where these teams were. They were trying to isolate these players, Torch especially in the back. So it's just, massive credit for them for getting the win as well. And all those other players, because you see that zone like that. We saw Agueta, Central Compound. Everyone else was it was like a clock face, wasn't it? A team at every angle. It was not an easy one for anyone really to get any ground. And yeah, hats off to Agueta and K7, of course, there as well.
Yeah, that's just an absolutely horrible zone as well. Just no cover really at all. If you're not in the zone and you're not in a good position, you really struggled in that game. You saw it on that eastern side when you had TSS, DubHub, CoR, QP, Mway. I'm sure there's another team lurking around there as well, all trying to fight on that side. it was never gonna work out for all of them. And in fact, I think almost all of them did end up falling pretty early as well from any team that was already inside the compound.
Yeah, not an easy one for sure. Hopefully a bit of a better zone in our last game. That'll be coming up in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. We'll get some highlights up. But yeah, the last game coming up very shortly.
And there we go then, back with the final game here of the night. Of course, not the final game of this week and not the final game by any stretch of the grand finals, but we are into the final game of the day, the final Miramar of the day. And, you know, it's been very close so far. K7 and Torch being very dominant, though. You know, they've been picking up the points, but a lot of other teams have been picking up points as well.
Get neck and neck here early on. You know, it started off looking like it was a closer match from these teams here. It was going to be a very, very close round one here, match one, week one, day one, you know, for the finals here. But, you know, we've definitely seen some consistency from Torch. We've seen that consistency in K7, RMV, picking up some big numbers as well. It's TSS who has definitely done some things and have definitely put some numbers up, but I'm wondering if this team is going to come up here in the final match. They have not found that chicken dinner. They've been in some good opportunities. And they've definitely put the work in here. So it's TSS. The pressure going to be on here for the final day if they're looking to overtake teams, you know, like RMV, teams like K7 and Torch, who have just been really, really consistent in the numbers tonight.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. You know, they've just really been playing well. I'm sure we'll be able to get an updated leaderboard at some point during this game. It does take a little while to update. But going into that one, the top looking very, very close. Only 6 points separating the top 4, which after 2 games is not normally the case. Normally you see at least one team, you know, a little bit of a stretch ahead. Obviously, K7 were ahead going into that game, and they pick up the win. So I think we might see a little bit more of a gap starting to form after that game. But yeah, you know, it's for now, you know, there's still plenty of time for these other teams to start catching up. And, you know, I feel like K7 got a little bit lucky with that first game coming over the win. I don't want to take it away from QDex. You know, he played very well, but it could have easily gone the other way. So I feel like that's kind of where they managed to get their extra bonus points. Of course, played very well in that last game, but, you know, that luck's not always going to be there for K7. So we need to hope that they can continue to stay dominant like they did in the last game for the rest of the event. Because, yeah, you know, they can't rely on those solo plays coming out from one individual player.
Hands down. Shifting the focus down to the circle. We'll look at QP. QP is just sitting in a very widespread 4 split. Great control of the circle there is Major Gurf. He's going to make his way in potentially to a great compound here, setting up QP for some early rotation and some good center zone. Respect to that from QP. QP is another team that has had some semi-consistency, but still has yet to find that chicken dinner and yet to clutch up with all 4 members left alive there. They did have the opportunity on Erangel, but again, we're just kind of ripped apart from a few third-party teams here, given the angles and given how tricky that zone was. It's another team that I'm thinking could potentially come up with that chicken dinner. Dub Hub as well, not so much as love in the circle, but they've had some good rotations here to get themselves in precarious positions here towards the ending game. So Dub Hub definitely having the potential to do so as well. Just some of my expectations here in the 4th and final match, leaving that there's only 4 more matches tomorrow to come here. There's opportunity now tomorrow after even game 1 and game 2, the opportunity really starts to become slim. And if you haven't done enough here in them first 5-6 games, then you're starting to question yourself and you're more or less just playing to play. And trying to put numbers up and avoid giving points to some of these other teams like Torch, K7, and RMV.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's making sure that you can pick up points as well. But yeah, you have got to be aware of who is picking up the points, you know, in addition to that. You can't just necessarily think about your own points. You know, if you've got a chance to take out someone that's, you know, a couple of places ahead of you on the leaderboard, you know, you need to start thinking about those sort of plays. You need to be like punishing those teams that are starting to, you know, you see a knock come through, you see 2 knocks come through, you got to think, right, you know what, we need that team out of the lobby, because otherwise they start to run away with it a little bit and you struggle to catch up unless you have like the big banger games yourself. But yeah, K7 definitely one of those teams. While we're waiting for these rotates to come through, not too much, you know, really coming through in terms of knocks and kills or anything. Saying that, Ollie from the vehicle, we had to find Husky on the rotate. He's taken very low though, so I don't know whether they're going to want to stop and necessarily take this. I think they're just going to try and get some meds going in this situation. But Howard actually, yeah, can't quite get a sight line on towards that one. He's going to try and go off for an angle, but the problem is he's very low. Does manage to spot the player, but they're going to be ducking down, trying to get the meds off. And now Howard very disconnected here. But the rest of CoR, they've pulled up on the other opposite hillside. Can't quite get the angle, but Desert also got an off angle here, and he's going to start raining the shots down towards Ollie as Hauer opens up towards Berkey and Husky. No knocks coming through just yet. Milky Way kind of playing a little bit on borrowed time, you feel.
Yeah, and the only unfortunate part is they're starting to get the scatter here. Hauer leaving Ollie there, at the shack there. If Dez does come through and able to take out the tires for Ollie, it's going to leave CoR kind of caught out. But you can see the remaining two members, Gav and Suddy, coming from the backside on MW here. And this is a nice little collapse onto MW if they can make it. It looks like it's going to come through. It is. The Molotov's good. Gav to follow up. Also with the M4 shots there. Now Bearkai just lying in wait in the little divot just ahead of them. Again, you're not really knowing that he's there. That's the player that was originally knocked, so I'm pretty sure they're aware there is one more player. As you can see him not getting too overzealous here to just come up. So Gav will cook that grenade up. Think he's going to toss it in the shack. Thinking he's in the shack, but little does he know he's in that right side bowl. Nade was perfect, but nobody there for the recipient side of that. So it's still Emway Bearkai just lying in wait as Benzo gets taken out there. Is Howell going to be able to find the line of sight from this angle here? I don't think he still has it, but it's just looking like Bearkai may be able to get a secondary chance to survive here. The patience from Bearkai right now, hats off. And if I remember correctly here, back in the day, Bearkai was one of those players who just mechanically gifted here, could potentially put down both these CoR members here. But it's been a while since I've seen some highlights here from Bearkai.
Yeah, I completely agree. Definitely a really strong player, and it was, some really big plays coming through. Ollie does get caught there by Desert on the off angle, and unfortunately, no CoR member is going to be anywhere nearby. I think Ollie and Sutty, or Gavin Sutty, are going to be jumping straight in that vehicle to try and get over towards Ollie, but the problem is they need to be over there very quick because it looks like Desert wants to try and push across, try and get that confirmation. Hauer is going to be able to try and get the suppressing fire coming back from there. Turkey now just having to just stay there and prone, can't really do too much about it. And I think CoR should be able to get over there to get the res, but yeah, it's not looking the cleanest of fights here. It's not looking the best, and being where they are in the zone, there's a good chance another team could come along and score the party a little bit. So they have got to be a little bit careful they don't just try and play on this fight for a little bit too long than they should do.
Yeah, a little too much time, a little too much resources probably spent in that fight. Respect again, trying to get those points. At least CoR has not taken the loss here, but it's MW. Definitely feeling the pressure here. Tried to stick that res and then tried to regroup. Unfortunately, it's just costing them player counts here, so they're going to have to be very, very careful how they do reset. CoR starting to gather the power in numbers here. They can crash either Bearkai or potentially Deza, because Dez has just been kind of sitting here the entire time. I mean, yeah, he's been putting the pressure back on the CoR here, but CoR is starting to get the information that he's solo. He's eventually going to four stack that clown car right there and just send it his direction here. This has bought Bearkai that opportunity to finally get out of the bowls. He's making his way over to Dez, potentially to get some backup here. And the longer that CoR waits to take this push on to Dez, the more opportunity that Emway will get to regroup, at least as a two-man for the time being here.
Yeah, 100%. I kind of feel like maybe they weren't aware that Berkey, she hadn't been able to quite get towards the compound. And so, yeah, CoR kind of maybe think that there is two in the compound now. They know that two members of Milky Way have been finished. The kill coming on from GT previously was another kill there. Ollie should be able to get a new helmet as well if he wants to try and push in here and grab that one. He does. He's going to be able to get that gear that was taken away from him. But yeah, Berkey obviously is still going to be solo and has to stay solo as well. No chance of being able to catch up here. RMV rotating nearby, and this is what I was talking about. It's a good job that CoR have backed away from this fight a little bit. Obviously, they've taken the fight on towards Desert, but yeah, they did back away from that area as RMV are going to be rotating through, and that's definitely the sort of team that you don't want to be coming straight through the middle of your fight because they will come for the third party. You also saw EXH very close by as well, and they're kings of the third party there. And the fact that Berkey's just managed to get the knock on towards one of RMV might actually just give CoR the knowledge that there is only one MW player lurking in this compound, and that could lead to a completely different story. The shot's going to come through down here, but yeah, here we go. Kings of the third party, we called it. EXH once again coming in. They've seen the knocks coming through, and they're thinking, you know what, this is easy points for us. Spot the smokes, the nades are coming out. And there we go, the nade's going to come through. Should be close and does just about manage to finish. Kadosh, Takashi going to go down as well. Check Ben's going to confirm that with the nade. Benz is going to find Berkey, and just like that, EXH come up with 3 very, very easy points.
Nicely timed here from EXH yet again. I don't know what these guys are doing as far as the reads go, but If you guys are looking, as far as the aggression, third-party fight is definitely the key that we've seen EXH use time and time again here to find these early rotation kills here. They stop, they get information. They don't even lose players in the mix here, which is the most fantastic part about it all here. They're able to just spread their power here and continue that power throughout each game here. Every fight that's been a third party has just been read nicely. But no, Amway still alive. CoR completely forgetting about this solo member in the compound here. They've kind of made this their home. They've all grouped up here as a full four, but did not bother to check any of the corners here to make sure that there was no solo player left. They took the pressure. They took all the shots from Desi here, but didn't clear. And that's why you got to breach and clear. The most important part to make sure that the flush doesn't come through is all of you guys there at once. And at least Gav, he's able to put that success back in the bag of CoR, denying any further placement points and any further kills here for Amway.
Yeah,
now, I'd be surprised though if EXH doesn't get involved in this. Silencer.
I was going to say exactly the same thing. EXH definitely looked like they wanted to try and get involved, but they've got themselves a decent position. They've got themselves a compound, and yeah, I think even they realise that the fact that the knock had come through a little while ago, the fight's over, probably not going to be having that quite as an advantage when they come for that push. So yeah, deciding to just back off from it. But again, really smart reads coming out from EXH. The fact they didn't push there when, we're so used to seeing them do it, shows that they are very on top of knowing, when to be aggressive and when not. And that is really important when it comes to these sort of games and these sort of lobbies.
Lets you know it's not just luck, right? It lets you know they're not just getting lucky with these shots.
Exactly.
Like, it is timing, it is precision. It's not just moves that are like, all right, we hear shots, let's go. Like, they have positioned themselves nicely to gather information, to gain these kills, and then even with the rotation out, like, they leave themselves an exit. We've seen that earlier too in the last match too. Teams are then starting to take fights, but they're also leaving themselves that exit. EXH got the kills earlier, avoided the fight with Dubhub. Now they got the kills there onto Amway and onto RMV a little bit, and then we're still able to back up off that fight, realizing they've got what they came to get, and can then reset here. So it's been a huge move for success. I think in a learning curve here, maybe some other teams can apply that matter as well, that aggression sure is important, but the timing of the aggression and the necessity of the aggression are definitely some of the more important key factors when talking about a crash, when talking about a push into next zone.
100%. You hit it on the head. It's all about knowing when and when you shouldn't do it, and that's exactly what's coming through. But every team sort of managed to get themselves into the zone here, bar Aguita actually, who are still down in the south, just biding their time, having a little bit of scout inside. Not too many players lost. Obviously, we have lost a few. There's everyone kind of waiting to see what this zone does. It did hard shift over towards Los Leones, so we kind of thought maybe it won't go that way. Of course, it's going to go that way. We're always going to get a Los Leones zone at some point in these games, and this is going to potentially be the one. It's looking like it's going to go slightly further towards the north here than Los Leones, but we've already got a couple of teams kind of lurking around there. F2S look like they've only got 2 members left up. Ollie's going to knock himself from falling. I'm not quite sure how that happened. Right next to the compound.
Misstep off the warehouse. I think he fell off the warehouse.
Oh, of course he did. But yeah, he's going to be able to get res. But the thing is, they're going to have to now think in the back of their minds. That's 2 knocks Ollie's already experienced in this game. And yeah, another knock might be really difficult to get the res. The zone is hard shifted once again. It's gone all the way over towards that eastern side. And K7, they're absolutely loving this. They have got such a good zone in this one. And so many teams now are going to have to try and see if they can find a way in towards this. Already seeing Torch trying to get up nice and early down towards the north. They're going to be pushing themselves in. We're going to see Dubhub as well down in the south trying to push themselves in. Again, there are only 2 left up for them as well. So, Dubhub's sort of struggling a little bit in this game, unfortunately. But yeah, a lot of teams having to make the move, and there's not going to be too much space for them to do so. Obviously, Los Leones is free at the moment, but you really want to push into the city knowing you're probably going to have to leave with about 5 other teams? I'm not quite sure teams do.
Not the best place to be at all. Los Leones, you got the warehouse. There's that one compound that I'm surprised is still viable right now, right outside the warehousing on the top ridge right there. You get so much information. The push onto the top spot right there is extremely difficult for any team to make here. So, to see nobody sending it in that direction is absolutely surprising here, especially with that zone ready to shift here, or coming in right now, phase 3, making its way into phase 4. Teams definitely need to be considering making that rotation, as I only see BHE and now Aguita actually in the rotation, making the moves there. Everybody else is kind of just on foot, slowly but surely trucking through Los Leones. And like you said, do you really want to, be the team that's caught there? Do you really want to play the slow game in a match like this? Again, you don't have the information like we have, seeing how many compounds are open in the center of that zone, but sometimes high risk, high reward, and this is one of those things where I wish we seen a little more teams take that high risk to gain that reward.
100%. I was about to comment on CoR's rotation here. I was like, that's very wide rotation going around with the blue. And then I looked towards the north and saw EXH, and they were doing an even wider rotation. They're coming in up just towards the left of Graveyard right now, but they've gone right the way up past Power Grid, and they're coming back in as well. They need to be a little bit careful, because if they're too far out, they're going to really struggle to be able to get the meds off and get back up to full health as they come in here. They're going to be chunking quite a bit from the zone, but I think, they might have calculated this quite well, because they've got quite a lot of space up there in towards the north. The problem is down in the south, there's not a lot of space at all. WC also struggling for space as GT taking out some of their members, and just like that, they're going to finish off. That's going to be all 4 of WC once again falling out early, and I mean, I don't know. I don't think I saw a single kill coming out from them in this game either. So really not the WC we're used to seeing.
It's just unfortunate for WC. I mean, some fights they've lost, in some, unfortunate 1v1s, but SKEU was in this fight. GT from the third party getting in this fight. There was just so much happening. WC has absolutely no luck tonight here. They're having to fight, and this is just it's a difference for me, when I'm just expecting. I know they barely scraped in to get into the quals here, but still, this is just a bad week I expected for WC, but no, it's just bad continuous weeks here. WC needs to put their heads together and figure out where they can reset here. But GT, after winning the fight here against WC, now getting into it with SKEU. Util being sent out from both sides here. The smoke's on one, Util the lethal on the other. There is that one grenade just hits 3 players right there. Shane, Hacker, and Beater all take damage from that grenade there. Now Shane, with a little bit of a disaster for himself, is going to toss it, but nothing to connect there. Skylinks will find Walshy on the side, putting the power back in SKU's favorite. Nope, Townie then traded out with Beater to fall, and then Townie knocked out by Hacker and Shane. Shane, good team shots put out by SKEU. Can GT reset with the res here before the clutches and the flushes come through here? It does not look likely, but Steelix is going to try for Townie here with the push coming from Hacker. A perfectly tossed Molotov from Kaneki is going to connect. Knock confirms Beater as the knock return from Hacker is there. SKEU back up to 2. The res on Townie was good. So they're continuing to look for this last member up for GT, with the third-party shots raining in from the side. Kaneki will get confirmed. Skylink's just picking up kills left and right, and Shane hops off the res there to find the next knock, and the final player of GT, Townie, to fall. SKEU out on top, and the res carried in with the fireman. Should be able to pick that one up. Reset. Nicely played here from our Skyline EU boys.
Oh, unfortunately, just sticking it down, and third-party Kings once again coming in, stealing away the kill, and Hacker's going to get found. EXH picking up that kill once again, and yeah, 4 kills already on the board for EXH. Once, they're playing very well. They're getting some nice early kills, but they can't seem to quite get it to the late game. So hopefully they can convert that in this one. And the zone is gone very far to the north, but finally cut out Lost the owners. And this, as I said, so many teams already having to try and get out of there. F2S going to have to hold off BHE now down in the south, as they're fully pushing in towards their compound. As you can see, BHE, they've got the numbers advantage. F2S only going to have 2 members left up, and we've got a big battle ahead of them, and they need to clean it up quick, because you've got TSS coming in, you've got CoR coming in as well, and this could get really messy really quickly.
It's about to get absolutely dirty in this combo. This is the compound I was saying that I wish teams would have taken earlier. And now we've got 2 teams fighting for it. And you can see, again, if you're the first team in setting up for numbers, you're not having to worry about defense. So FSS is going to have all these teams coming their way, but they have the hardcover compound. If you're looking at BHE's position, TSS is setting up like a firing squad. And once they realize the shots and the knocks that are going to come through up top, is easily going to be able to pick up this third party, just because there's no real hides from the angle of TSS here. As there's Link, he's going to steal away that one on Zen. Then he's going to find Larry, and this is what I'm talking about. They're fighting the compound here on FSS, but they're giving the backside to the compounds and to the teams coming out of Los Leones. And there's CoR. They see their entryway. The tickets are sent out. The invitations are there. F2S gets a little bit of trade back onto Clift as a one-man tries to push the 2-man of S2S. You need to be a team here, BHE. You need to be pushing that together here. I like the holds coming out from Larry, but still, you need to push that all at once there and make the full send, get F2S out, then turn the attention around. But backside, TSS get into it with CoR here on the edge, and somehow F2S is getting to survive inside the God buildings right there. Suddy with some grenades finds the first knock. Another one should be able to confirm both of these kills. It's perfectly placed. It looks good. And it is great. Suddy then turns his attention onto RMV. Third partying from a distance there, but that's inside actually the blue. So that's one more kill given to CoR. RMV down and out. And now 3 teams still remaining, 4, excuse me, because there's a solo Jimbo and Link to survive. They're trying to make their way into the phase 5 shift, but there's 10 seconds on the clock, and we're still going to see that shift start to push these teams to fight.
We certainly are, and this fight, it's only a matter of time before it really breaks out, isn't it? Howard gets found there by Linkadox, and I think might just have been able to get out of the start lines, might be able to get rezzed, and CoR really having to fight tooth and nail here to try and see if they can get their way in. So many teams surrounding this area. Jimbo's going to jump off the rock as they're going to try and rotate down on the low ground. He's going to allow for the res to come through on towards Howard. He does get back up on his feet, and now 4 members of CoR trying to push in towards F2S and BHE. Let's have a little listen into the comms of CoR as we can see what they're trying to work with.
He could wrap him behind you, Howie.
Yeah, I'm coming left, They're still scrapping. I think BHE wiped.
Kids on the road, far north, GT warehouse.
I think we need to wrap
Watch
off
out,
this,
they can
boys.
see you, so.
Yeah, I'm dead.
I think we just need to get rid and turn around. Trying to get over the ridge so I can turn.
Yeah, have a look.
Fly up high on the rocks still, high rocks.
One's one shot.
I have to heal.
I'm at 4th lead. Touch me, Gavin, these 2 peek it.
Ouch. I'm 1 shot, no meds. That was one in the
Dead.
No,
TSS still up.
TSS is alive.
Yeah, 2
man.
dead, I said. Just chill.
Sweep this to the 4 maybe, or no?
Just get full.
I got shot in the back.
Don't matter. I have no boosters, by the way. No util.
Yeah, I have nothing, bro, no vest.
I have 1 first aid, that's it.
Boost to me.
Push the shack while they're fighting.
Need to get some though.
I think we wrap TSS while other teams are fighting, no?
I'm just gonna take a
No,
bit of high
no,
ground.
they've lost from blue. Edge of blue. Like,
They're pushing us,
No
boys.
smokes, bro.
2 man, boys.
Just peek it a second.
I'm trying, bro.
QP behind you. In a bush or in the shack or something.
Oh my god.
What are we?
Yeah, really unfortunate there from CoR getting third party there by QP. Seemed like they weren't quite sure what they wanted to do. Ollie going out to go and see if he can scout the shack there. But unfortunately, it was one or the other. And I think either way, they'd have been stuck. They push towards TSS, QP get them in the back. They push towards QP, TSS get them in the back. So not the best position for them. But, 5 kills on the board, 7th place. That is going to be 6 points going their way. And TSS doing very well to survive in this one. And a nice opening there for Linker. On towards Z-Grip might actually give TSS the chance to be able to push around here on towards QP. As no one else seems to really be peaking their position.
Good plays from TSS. It looks scary. They were the last team to come in out of Los Leones, but they're making the best of it here. 5 kills for Link. Link just absolutely cracked with that 4 times. Look at the shots. He's hitting everything that he looks at. 10 bullets. Hits 8 out of those 10 bullets here. The nades coming out from Link's, the Molotovs to follow. Now in comes Dubhub trying to make an appearance, and Link says, I'll take 2 more kills. Sitting on 8 kills all day right now. Linkadox seems unstoppable this match. He's got util. If he can get a grenade inside that shack, QP's definitely going to be feeling the hurt, but he does not want to put down this M4. Switch back over to Jimbo as he does take some damage. Cracked vest. He's got M4 in hand. The util coming out from both sides. And again, just not there. Now aimbot from the side. The barrel from a distance, actually from right behind, will come through. K7 now on the approach, trying to get TSS out. Kyle Ladd uses this as the opportunity to peek. Takes that 1v1 with Jimbo. And that's TSS out in 5th. Top 4 teams now remain here with QP sitting on 2 members. K7 looking for their 3rd chicken dinner of the night. Aguida looking for their 1st. And then EXH finally inside the top 5, baby. There's not too much more they can third party, but they still can come through with the dub.
They certainly can. A nice knock there on delivery from Marco. That's one of Aguita bleeding out. I think they might be able to get the res, though, as it looks like Lizard's going to be able to crawl himself over that ridge, so EXH really going to have to be careful here because K7, they're getting aggressive. They've been sat in the compound for so long. 4 members up, 3 kills, and they're thinking, you know what, we want more than that. We're going to go out and hunt all of these teams that have been fighting, scrapping throughout the whole game, and that's exactly what they're doing. EXH getting caught out by that third-party wrap here right now that they're so good at, and yeah, it's not looking the best for them. Ben's trying to get rezzed here by Tweak. He's going to be able to get back up, but instantly dropped again. QDex with another nade. The stuns all coming in here to try and see if they can aggress even further. Tweak holding inside there. He's got the 3 gear. He's got the Mark 14 as well in hand. Trying to use that if he possibly can. Does manage to find aim block. Gets himself straight back into the smoke. Tries to see if he can find another one. Spots QDex there. He does manage to open up towards another one. Gets 2. This is huge here from Tweak. I don't know if he's going to be able to get another one, but huge plays coming up from here, and all of a sudden K7 on the back foot, and Aguita, they might want to get aggressive on this. The problem is QP holding on the backside is making it really difficult. There we go. QDex finally can deal with the final player, but K7 now got to be really careful because that molly's so good. Oh my god, how the hell did they manage to get that so on point? Pepe Yuji, what an absolute god with that molly.
Nice toss from him. Kobe over the top there. We've seen a Tom Brady come out yesterday. Aguita with the Kobe today here. Now in a 2v2 situation. K7 versus Aguita here. Tweak rips K7 and gives them a fight that they weren't ready for. They had that in the bag by the first 2 XH members and are now trying to find their way across here against Aguita here. Thankfully enough, Lizard will go down, and then Tritune was gifted to QP right there, so the help still coming out from this last team who's been just very, very quiet, letting K7, letting EXH, letting Aguita just demolish each other here, and they may come out on top here with the win. QP was definitely one of the teams I was looking at to take home this final dinner, and they have the opportunity. They have presented themselves here nicely, rotating in, haven't got too aggressive, and now they're going to wait for this fight with Phase 7, a minute on that clock. Phase 8 still to pop. We've got a little bit of room still to play for this game to slow down here, so QP definitely could find themselves that victory, but as K7 is, trying to regather themselves after an unfortunate event there with EXH.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just having a look at CodeRed's utility. I'm like, why is he only half HP? He hasn't got any meds. He's got nothing left in the tank. Unfortunately, Vest very damaged as well. Does still have a good number of shots left in that Orm, though. Another 13 rounds to use, so I'm sure we'll be hearing that big green machine ringing out across the zone as soon as he can find some players to shoot at. But yeah, he has got to be a little bit careful because one tag pretty much from any DMR, especially in the head, will take the knock. And yeah, it's not going to be easy for Specky to be able to get over there for that res. I'm not quite sure what Specky's situation is in terms of meds. Nothing on there either. No helmet.
Negative.
So it's yeah, it's going to be a real uphill battle despite the fact that they've got the high ground here on this situation. As K7, yeah, they have to move away from their position. KP can just sit where they are, but Aguita, they are going to have to move again. Not too much on the side of Aguita. Going to have to try and see if they can make it work, but it's not looking the best for them either. And surely K7, they're looking pretty good. I mean, they've got 3 gear. I mean, do they need any more help?
Yeah, they don't need this one like QP does, but I'm feeling QP's situation. This is me when I'm in these comp. I've played a few with you guys trying to hold my own here on comp. That's always me. I'm always in this end game. I got no smokes, no meds, no utilities here. I'm sitting on a 3-time scope, but these guys got 8 times. So shout out to QP. QP still making it work here with the little bit that they do have left here. This would be a chicken dinner to remember here. Sitting on no meds here, and half health going into the final fight of the game here. That's not comfortable for anybody. There's Specky taking a little more damage, knowing that he can heal, knowing that the boost is not there to help pick up whatever health he can recover. It's just QP hanging on for dear life, trying to survive with what they have in the bag, and it's not a whole lot.
It really isn't, and yeah, Guita almost began to get the knock there. Unfortunately, just slightly missing the shots coming through from Pataboka. But yeah, he looks like he's just trying to hold on, trying to see if he can just delay the time here. The problem is, if QP take too much more damage, they're going to have literally nothing in the tank. And there we go, Specky finally getting caught out by Destroyer. Destroyer's pushing straight over here to try and see if he can get the kill on towards one of Aguita. Swaps straight to that barrel as well. The close combat. 4x on it. Is that going to be enough to do it? Yes, it is. He's going to be able to find Aguita, and now all of a sudden it's 1 up. QDex is going to confirm that one, and it's an 11 kill win for K7, and the 3rd win of the night. they have just been so dominant.
Is anybody going to stop these guys? I mean, seriously, QP definitely looked like they had that one right there. K7 just coming in, all guns a-blazing here. I mean, and you've seen QDex come over that ridge with confidence. He, had it ready to wait. He wasn't scared, wasn't, second-guessing himself, and knew where these players were, peeked up, took the shots, got the victory there. And that's what you're respecting. That's what you're expecting out of a player, out of a team who's looking to take home the championship victory here. There's so much to play for console right now. So, now is the time to showcase your team here, in K7 taking the opportunity to do that for themselves.
Yeah, really, really well played there from K7.
Yeah, really good stuff. Especially interested in these games today. They seem to have been very scrappy. It seems we're getting to the end game, and there's a lot of bit parts of teams left. K7 winners are 2. That one-on-one game 1. They've not been easy games really for anyone. I mean, surely all we're looking for really is a couple of teams just to play that tiny bit smarter. I know it's easier said than done. Don't take anything away from what these teams are doing. But, maybe tomorrow we want to see teams come out a bit stronger towards the end game. Because if you're up as a 4 in that situation, 9 times out of 10, that's your game.
You're expected to come out on top in those games, and it's those games that you're given, I think, the torch to carry into the finals here, but we've seen QP in 2 situations like K7 almost dropped the ball there, go from a 4 down to a 2. That 2 isn't strong enough to take the supporting roles there again, because your power in numbers then dwindles away here. So we're starting to see, an old school meta come back here when PUBG used to, be a fact where you get into this final circuit, your 4 players are more accountable than the 2 here. But then we've got to a place where there's just very mechanically gifted players who can then 2v4 any team here. But we're at a place where it's becoming very, very hard to do so. So your best bet for chance of win isn't necessarily having your 2 strongest players left. It's having all 4, having all the angles, being able to check your corners and give out good comms.
Yeah, completely agree. Well, there we go. CoR European Showdown, day number 1. The grand finals is complete. Of course, the teams have tomorrow as well for that prize money, and of course next week as well. Do put in chat if you're a little bit confused with the formats. Slightly different, but yeah, it does reward teams, especially for consistency, which we've seen a bit from K7 tonight. But of course, there is still tomorrow to come, so there could be an upset on the cards. Silencer, any final words from you?
No, I think K7 really been playing well. I'm hoping some of these other teams will be able to catch up, and of course, this format is really rewarding for if a team does run away with it in the first week, it resets going into the final week. So you don't need to go in there panicked. You still got a really good chance of winning money, and actually the big money is in the second week. So first week gets you a good chance to sort of settle in. A couple of these teams are going to pick up some nice money to start off with, get some good points to go towards their overall score. But of course, the big money is next week. So if a team looks like they're running away with it, which K7 kind of look like they are a little bit, it doesn't matter. You can come back, you can really fight for it. Come week 2, it doesn't matter if you're towards the bottom of the board. I mean, WC, not really seeing the performance from them, but if they have one big day next week, they've got a really good chance of picking up a lot of money from that.
Yeah, absolutely. CC, you mentioned WC, of course, one of the teams who used to be so dominant, and there certainly is room for a team to really, stamp their mark on the team, on the lobby, excuse me. So yeah, coming into tomorrow, of course, back with yourself as well. Who are you really wanting to see do well? Was it WC?
Of course, it's WC. Winner's Circle has always had that place in my heart. I want to see these guys come up and do things that I know they're capable of. And when we're talking about Bankai, one of the very gifted player here, I've seen Makaz do things time and time again. I mean, Dynamic has been with the scene for time and time again. Not that he is the best player in the game here, but he knows his mechanics. He knows how to run PUBG. He knows how to play PUBG. So, and even to count Spencer in there, I mean, there's just players on WC who have been in this lobby, have been in this game for some time here. So I'm definitely putting the pressure on WC to come back. I at least need to see you guys in the middle of the leaderboard, sitting in last place, under Dig and under Mway, and this is no shots at them, but these are teams that they used to put in the dirt. I mean, it was a fair fight every time and time again, and Mway and Disgusting would give them a run for their money, but WC would always come on top. Now you're starting to question it. So WC, put some respect back on your name, come through tomorrow. Other teams I'm looking at, though, QP, CodeRed Gaming, who came in here with such a strong performance as well. They're sitting on 15 points halfway through, and again, not a terrible day at all from CoR. But this team, came in hitting guns blazing. I'm looking to see this team at least put up a chicken dinner by the end of tomorrow.
Yeah, completely agree. There we are. So some work for these teams to do heading into tomorrow, the final day of week 1. 2 more days, of course, to come after that. But for now, we're going to call it a day. Thank you, boys, very much for your time, for hosting. I hope you guys have enjoyed the stream. We're going to throw you over to someone, so please don't go anywhere and enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
See you in a bit.
Just roll away with my darling.